What's going on, guys? We are live. Welcome to another episode of the OMG It's Derek podcast, the podcast where we talk about whatever, whenever, live over on twitch.tv. If you want to be a part of it, if you want to join in the live conversation, make sure you head on over to omgitsderek.tv. Again, that's omgitsderek.tv. Tonight, I'm joined by my friends Codation and Wolf once again. We also got some people in the chat. Reese says, yo, Derek, what's up? Yo, how's it going? Also, Reese, I love the Pixel Bob emote. Who doesn't love him? Who doesn't love him? All right, let me drag in Wolf and Codations here into the chat, and then we will go ahead and get started. Hope everybody's having a fantastic night. Wolf, Codations, my friends, how's it going?
Good enough.
Going
Wolf,
good, my dude. Going
you always
good.
sound so excited, Wolf.
I got my peppermint mocha ready to go for tonight.
Peppermint mocha. Holy shit, dude, you going
yeah,
fancy
dude.
on me.
I was gonna say, you want high energy out of me, you're out of luck.
Dude, peppermint
do
mocha,
that.
bro. Peppermint mocha is my seasonal drink. I am not a pumpkin spice latte, a PSL kind of guy, but peppermint mochas come around. Oh, it's all about the peppermint mochas, baby.
Oh my god, dude, I hate peppermint with a passion. I think it is one of the worst flavors in the existence of mankind.
Remember, we've had this conversation before. You and my
Did
wife
we?
are an exact copy, my dude.
I do love pumpkin spice as well. Pumpkin spice is some good shit. Although normally I drink that around Thanksgiving time or October, like when it first comes out, and I get so sick of it by the time Halloween comes around that I'm away from it. I don't know that I have like a Christmas flavor that I like. Sometimes I like trying like those gingerbread ones and stuff that they come out with. But to be honest, through and through, most days, give me some French vanilla and I'm happy.
Oh yeah, French vanilla is always like my go-to choice year round. It's just easy peasy. But me and the wife are those that couple that goes to the store and we always buy those funky ass creamer flavors. You know, the ones that they sell in the cold section, like the cookies and cream, or like the crazy, like you said, gingerbread spice stuff. Like we always try the weird stuff, and let me tell you, there's some nasty ones out there that do not taste like they say they do.
I agree 100%. We try them as well. I mean, that's what we mainly drink is in our coffees is like we like what's the Coffee Mate. I don't like International Delight at all. So we use Coffee Mate, and we do the same thing. Like even when I say pumpkin spice latte, that's what I'm talking about, are those creamers. That's all we use. What?
What?
Yo, what's up, Ryan? How you doing, man?
Not too bad, dude.
Good to hear, my friend. Reese says, first, Princess in the chat. She says, I'm here, but on the phone. I'll be off in like 5 minutes. Wow, Princess, you're not even ready for the podcast? You're supposed to be here on time, ready to go, and shooting us with that juicy info in the chat. No, I'm just kidding. It's fine, my dear. We'll see you in 5.
5 minutes, 1 a.m.
1 a.m. Holy shit, dude. It's late for you, brother. Reese says,
I'd rather start at 6.
that's too early for me on a Sunday, dude. I apologize. Reese says peppermint latte is the best in the UK over Christmas time. Damn, Codations, you got another guy with you in the chat, dude. Reese says he loves peppermint.
I'm telling you, dude.
I can't do, like I said, dude, I don't know why. I can't do anything. I can't really, to be honest, it's not just peppermint. It's like anything mint. I'm just not a fan of.
Not even old school, candy canes like peppermint.
Nope. I only get like the if we do candy canes, I get the like the lifesaver ones or like the fruit ones or something. Can't do regular ones.
Like the colorful ones that have like a fruity flavor.
100%, dude.
What about black coffee drinker? Are you a black coffee drinker at all?
I don't hate it. But I couldn't.
You're not your choice.
Yeah, I mean, and I know the creamer's sugared, but I don't add any extra sugar or anything in my coffee, and I try to add just enough to give it the flavor to where I can, enjoy it. I can drink black coffee, like I don't think it's disgusting, but it's not like I enjoy it per se.
Yeah,
but that's just me.
It's an acquired taste. For me as an office worker, you just have to like black coffee. Do you know what I mean? Because that's literally the only thing the office makes is just pots and pots and pots of black coffee. And if you don't carry your own, mini fridge or something, then yeah, your creamer is going to be gone by like the next 3
Oh,
coworkers.
see, at well, at my office job, my last one, before they shut down, we had French vanilla cream or Coffee Mate there that we just all used, and like
Yeah.
everybody would take a turn in the office buying it, like when it ran out. My wife's office is the same way. They use the French vanilla Coffee Mate, and they each take turns buying a box of it from like Sam's Club when it goes out.
Interesting. Yeah, no, there's no communicative system here. They've got a, like I said, they got a fridge in their break room. Everybody puts their, name on shit, label stuff. I mean, it's even gotten to the point where people buy a gallon of milk and then they put a line on their milk. So then that way they know if anybody has came in and used their milk after, like after.
Wow,
they
you
put
guys got
another
some.
line.
You guys are not a family at your workplace.
No, we've got vultures, dude. Vultures. Like they will destroy anything you put in there that they can get their hands on that you can't, so-called track. You know what I mean?
Oh my god.
Because obviously if you got like a meal, obviously they can't eat your meal, because you would know it's gone or they've done something with it. But yeah, anything drink wise, no. That's why, like I said, you have to become a black coffee drinker. So that's pretty much predominantly Monday through Friday, unless if I bring my own, it's black coffee.
I try now, to be honest, I don't drink a lot of coffee to begin with. I normally have like a cup in the morning, like 1 cup. And then I'll normally have, or once in a while, I'll have a cup. Normally on stream days, I'll have a cup at the start of my stream. And then that's it normally. I am having one tonight just because I was a little tired. What'd you say, Ryan? What? Hello? Okay.
Yeah, I missed it too. I don't know if he disappeared. Maybe
Reese
he said
says
he was walking away
UK.
for a second.
Reese says UK all the way, baby. Yeah, Ryan's from the UK. He's the only UK person here. The rest of us are all from the States. We said fuck the UK and made our own country.
Kick him. Kick him.
Kick the UK person. Ryan and Reese, get out. So how's everybody's week going? Codation, how's your week? Dude, I feel like we haven't, like, normally we talk pretty frequently through the week, and I told my wife, I think it was yesterday, I'm like, man, I have not hardly heard from Codations at all this week. I'm like, and when I've texted him, it's like, not that I mind, just to say that up front, but I was just surprised. Like, are you just grinding away, or are you, what's been going on, man?
So we've been super, super busy with shit. Between, I think last week I took, we had a 6-month appointment for his shots one of the afternoons. So I was gone, like at like 1 o'clock and was gone for the day. And you know how that is with, if I'm not at work, I'm with the family and pretty much grinding with them. But so like I
like how you define spending time with your family as grinding with them.
Yeah, pretty much. It's any of my time is grinding, man. It doesn't matter. I'm either working on family grinding or I'm working on content creation.
Listen, I laugh because I'm so much the same way, because like I'm the type, this is how crazy I am, people. I literally like have to like when I'm making my to-do list for the day, if I feel like I've been neglecting my kids or my wife, I literally have to slot into my to-do list, play with Tanner tonight, cuddle up with the wife tonight. Like I gotta like do that stuff to get myself to do it, because I just am always in that like grind mode that if I don't it's horrible, I know. But it's just the truth. Like I have to do it to remind myself to do that stuff. Anyways, continue.
I'm the exact same way. Like, well, I sent you a text message today on the way home from my in-laws' house. Like we're driving home. It's a 45-minute drive. I'm sitting here talking to the wife, and I completely forgot to tell her about this damn podcast. So like I instantly was like on the way home. It's fucking 5 something, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's right, babe. By the way, at 7 o'clock tonight, when we have to put, Cohen down to sleep, I'm going to get on the podcast with Derek. So you're going to just put him to sleep on your own.
Oh, shit. How'd that go over?
She's like, oh, she was fine. She's like, oh, okay, that's fine. She's like, yeah, you're doing another podcast? And I'm like, yeah. And then she's like, well, what time is it? I'm like, fuck, I think 7. I think it's 7 our time. I don't know. I was like, let me make sure to ask him, because no, dude, I'm the exact same way, man. But yeah, so last week it was just, He ran a fever. He ran a fever one of the days after his 6-month appointment, which is normal for after getting shots.
Mm-hmm.
So the problem is with all this COVID stuff, daycare will not take him with a fever even after his shots. So, one of us had to stay home. Well, Allie had stuff to do. She teaches, and I've got a little bit more flexible. So I stayed home with him that day. And then another day, the daycare was closed because she popped the fever. So it was just like, oh my gosh, so like, 2 days were basically at home. one day or one was a half a day at work. The other time was at work, but I was like swamped, getting stuff done before the holidays. And then, like I said, I mean, pretty much this weekend was the same way. Saturday, yesterday, all the day, we dropped the kiddo off at the grandparents, and we've been grinding out on the basement, dude. We're trying to get this basement remodeled before winter hits. We got insulation put up, and guess what? We're ready for some drywall, baby.
Nice. So you're getting close.
So we're
getting close.
Oh yeah,
That's always
but
good to
we're
hear.
just-
Princess says, "Hey, Codations."
Hello, princess, tuning into my live streams, supporting me over here.
Yo, what? Where's my shout out for supporting? What the? Reese says, "Scared." Derek scared emoji. I love that scared emoji. Brian must be back because he's now doing the scared emojis. How about you, Wolf? How was your week, my friend?
Awesome.
Oh, good enough.
Good enough. Okay. Ryan, how was your how's your week?
I was
dude?
gonna say, I
Oh,
just
go ahead,
found
Will.
a game to put on your register.
On my
What's that?
radar, you
Yeah.
mean?
Either
What's
one
that?
works.
What's that?
Ruined King, a League of Legends story.
Oh god, dude. Just because I played
Dude,
one night of
no,
ARAM with you.
It's not. It's a single player RPG. That's
Wait, what
why
was
I
it
say
called?
Ruined King. It's on Steam.
Ruined. Yeah, I'm typing it in. I'm ruined.
Yeah,
King.
it's not out yet. It's just
Okay,
put it on the radar, see if you like it.
Yeah.
the
I'll add to
trailer
my
looks
wish list
fucking
and look
awesome.
at it later. All right. Princess says, "Hey, Woofy Puffy," and she says, "Hey, Ryan," as well. Anything exciting your week, Wolf? Just any new games that you're super pumped about that you played this week? Anything you want to share?
There's a new DLC coming out for Total War Warhammer, but other than that, no.
Yeah, I've
And
never
that's
been able
not
to
for
get
another
into the
2
Warhammer
months.
series. I think I played one a long time ago. I
You
know they're
played a little bit with
turn-based.
me.
Yeah, I don't remember. I must
What
not have
was-
liked it.
Well, it was like free to play weekend.
But-
It was that one RTS style thing.
Yeah, I was gonna say I played them a long time ago. I could never really get into turn-based games too much. I hate waiting. I
Hmm.
like action. I like actually, even if it's button smashing in a game, I'd rather button smash than. Although that For the King we did, is that what it was called? That was a pretty fun turn-style game.
Yeah, it is.
But- Ryan, how about you, my friend? How was your week, dude?
Not bad. Just gone in
Dude,
and
why
out.
does it sound like you're dead? You got the COVID, dude? You got the vid, man?
No, fam.
It sounds like you got the
Got
vid,
the
dude.
vid, bro.
Yeah, or you're stoned as hell. Could be that. I mean, that's always a. I thought about getting a little drinky drink tonight on for the podcast. but
I mean, that's up to you. I'm down, whatever.
I didn't go out and get any. I was too lazy. I was gonna go get some Jack and Coke, but
Yeah.
I was too lazy to go out.
Yeah, like I said, had to go at some friends for certain reasons.
For
It's like-
certain reasons. Okay.
Yeah, Mike and Ike is one of them. Yep.
Okay,
Listen,
okay.
listen. We don't like no secrets around these parts.
Look, fine, I
we
revealed
need
the
details.
secret.
We need
I'll
the
give-
dirty details, my
I'll give
dude.
you the detail.
I got Wolf over here like, it was good enough. I got Ryan over here. Yeah, I had to do stuff. You know, I can't really say, but it was stuff that we did, man. And it was a busy week of stuff, dude. Wow, man. Tell me more, guys.
Fine, I'll tell you.
I don't know
Okay.
what you want. I mean, you guys know I'm boring as hell. What are you?
Well, if you're not boring, dude, I have a blast with you every time.
Okay.
Yeah, but I
so-
don't.
Games
do
don't make
anything
you
except for
boring.
this.
So
Go ahead, Rod.
One of the arguments is someone who you know, Derek, which is Mike the Ike.
Yep.
I had an argument with him.
Oh, you got into an
Um,
argument. I thought you said you guys did something.
We've gone into an argument.
They did.
Oh.
So pretty much, he keeps talking to me, saying how he's hitting all these trick shots, blah blah. Like I said, I like to see this, but there's someone that I've always hated, never really liked it. You know, he's like one of them like really negative people.
Yeah.
But Mike
okay.
keeps bringing him up to me. I told him I don't want to hear about him. I just don't want him to talk about him. End off when he's around me. I want it to be between us, not someone who I'm not interested in.
Right. Right.
I don't know. That sounds like pay, but it's just like I don't like listening to him. I hate that kid with passion.
Damn,
but then
dude, you
again,
shouldn't hate anybody,
so-
man.
So Mike kept bringing it up. I just told him like end of it's like it's either you're gonna stop this bullshit or you're not. Because at the end of the day, you said that you want to play with me. You ditched me last second for him every time. So I don't see what's the point he's even my friend anymore.
Damn, dude. So you had a rough week, man.
It's not really rough because I've had Patch, one of my other friends. We actually opened up a Rust server together, so we're owning a new server now.
Nice. Anybody in the chat into Rust? Hit Ryan up in the Discord. If you don't have my Discord channel, putting a link in the chat now for you guys. Reese says, any of you guys into fighting games such as Mortal Kombat 11 or shooting games like Siege or GTA? I play GTA. I don't really do any fighting games anymore. Used to back in the day. Princess's mom's side's coming out for you, Ryan. She said, Ryan, did someone treat you bad? Because I'll pop a cap. Laugh my ass off. Reese says, don't let him waste your time, Ryan. I got your back. UK brothers stick together. Laughing my ass off. Fuck UK. Just kidding. I love UK. Brothers from across the pond.
Hey, quick question: any of you guys like into like Formula One or anything?
Nope.
Into what?
Nope. Formula One
not-
racing.
You're not into Formula One?
No,
Damn.
I don't even know what Formula One is, to be honest with you.
Like the racing.
Okay, that hurts. That hurt.
I mean,
Racing?
over here we got NASCAR, dude.
Oh,
Like
okay.
it's NASCAR over here, but Formula
Yeah,
One's
no.
like more. They're like those. I don't even know what type of cars they're called. I'm gonna totally butcher this. But Formula One's like the those small cars that got the big fin on the back that are like go to a point in the front, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're like
Pretty
they're like the Forza style cars.
Yes, yeah. I believe. Again, I'm not a big I used to play a lot of Need for Speed back in the day, but I was always more interested in fucking around. Like I said, GTA now, like a game like that where I'm driving a car, like hell yeah, that's hella fun, Reese. Hella fun.
Dude, don't even get me started on some Need for Speed Underground, dude.
Oh my god, dude, back in the day, dude, my car was looking sick.
Bro, do you know like that's literally I would literally spend hours not even playing the game. I would literally just customize all of the cars. I just sit there and just constantly put all the kits, and change everything up and paint jobs, and yeah, I never even played the game.
I remember
Something funny. The customization of it is actually how I rate those games. If it doesn't have customization close to that game, I don't play it. As far
Yeah,
as
I don't
Need
blame
for
you.
Speed goes, like I've played them and it's like that's the first thing I do is how customizable is the car? If it isn't as customizable as that game was, then I don't even bother. I just bin it and send it back to gameplay or whatever.
Because it was ridiculously like I don't know, it was ridiculous. I think it was ahead of its time. I mean, realistically, as much customizations as you could do in that game was insane.
He
says you
killed any interest in any other car game.
Yeah, I remember a couple years ago they came out with an open world Need for Speed that was free to play. This was, I mean, it's probably been 5 years now. It did not end up being that great, unfortunately. I had a lot of high hopes for it, but Reese says you hyped for the update on the 16th. Ryan says what game? Reese says GTA 5. I didn't know GTA 5 was having an update coming out on the 16th, to be honest.
Yeah, neither did I.
I haven't well, I probably will not because the 10th of December, Cyberpunk 2077. 2.5 weeks, baby. Cyberpunk 2077 will be out. And as long as it doesn't suck, I will be playing that for the foreseeable future. For sure. Who else? Anybody else pumped? Cyberpunk 2077.
Or it gets pushed back.
Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Yeah, I was gonna say I don't know that they can do it now. At the worst, they could maybe push it back like a week or something. Like,
yeah, I don't know. I don't think they will. I'm subscribed to their like their update channel on YouTube. So like I've been watching all of their like live streams that they pop off, and they've done I think 2 of them since their last pushback. And so again, I don't think that they will. One thing that I do think is funny, though, that I don't think a lot of people realize about Cyberpunk, and it doesn't affect me at all, but the fact that they have a first person, so the game is first person, right? Like the whole mode is first person. But what's interesting is they have a super in-depth character creation. It's just kind of goofy to me. It's just interesting. Like you never see your character in your cutscenes, but yet they
even in the cutscenes you never see them.
It doesn't matter. It's still customization is great. I love customization.
Right. Oh no, I'm with you.
Yeah, no, I like that's. I mean, it doesn't matter if you never see your character. There will definitely be places where you see your character. I'd almost guarantee there will be like build
Camera
setups where you're
mode
actually,
or
yeah, well, no, I'm saying like stat screens where you're actually using or putting stuff on your character and whatnot. So you'll
Yeah,
see,
yeah, yeah.
you'll definitely see your character.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, and I think people were just like the article that I was reading and was talking about it. I think they were just mentioning, like as far as like you said, the base game. You're not running around in third person, you know what I mean, over the shoulder, seeing your character constantly. I think that's what they were discussing. But
yeah, but honestly, I mean, even in like like the Elder Scroll games and stuff, I mean, you're playing in first person and you don't ever really see your
True.
character. And they have
Yep.
crazy customization as well.
Yep.
So I think
Yep,
that's
you're
just
right.
an RPG thing. But I do think, I mean, I agree. I'd rather have it than not, I guess. But to be honest, I'm not a huge character customization person. I do like, I go through quickly and customize, but I know some people that'll dig, like how we said we dig hours customizing a car. I'm the same way. But when it comes to customizing my character in the game, like I'm kind of quick and dirty and then I go. I'm too interested in getting into the RPG to
For
actually.
me,
Yeah,
it depends on the game. It
Well,
always
yeah.
depends on the game.
I was gonna say for me, it's not so much the game as it is my playthrough. So like if I'm playing by myself, you know what I mean? Then I typically do take the time to and actually customize my character, like how I want it, to look and take my time. But now if it was like me and you D playing, on like co-op or something, then we ran characters together, then no, then I don't spend the time doing that, because I'm the same way as you, as I just want to get into the action, and actually enjoy playing the game. But otherwise, no, I am a hardcore, customization. I will spend 45 minutes in a new game just in custom characterization, you know what I mean, before I even play the game.
Yep. Reese says, yeah, it's a new map extension on GTA 5. I didn't even know that they were coming out with it. I'll definitely check it out at some point, I'm sure, because I've been missing some GTA 5. Reese says, best believe I will be playing that game. I think everybody and their mother is going to be playing that game. Question for you guys, though. So is there, I'm going to be honest. I'm like super pumped for the game and I've seen stuff here or there, but I don't like follow it a ton. I just don't have the time. So is there zero online or co-op or any like type of mode to it? Is it completely 100% single player?
When it comes out, from my understanding, there will be no co-op when it comes out. That is supposedly promised for the future. So like there is no online co-op portion of the game. When it comes out, from my understanding, will be a solo, basically, immersive RPG. But like I said, they have promised, and that co-op is coming, and you will be able to co-op missions and in the world and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I don't care, to be honest. I don't mind single player, especially RPGs. I just wish sometimes, I wish they would just make like a lobby for you to hang out with friends and with like your character. Like that's the only thing I sometimes like you don't got to do full blown online co-op, but it's like just make a lobby where I can hang out with my friends with my character and do some mini games or something. So I can show off all the stuff I've gotten in the game, my cars, and that's why I love GTA 5, because you're running around with all the shit you've collected in the game.
Yep. Well, that's kind of how we talked about with Genshin. I mean, we thought that was a missed opportunity with Genshin, as they could easily make like the town areas, like a phase in, where you can see all the other players.
Yeah, like No Man's Sky, or that's the first game that always comes to mind. But yeah, exactly. I will say though, the more I've played Genshin, the more I realize that you can actually do more in co-op than what I thought. I mean, because you can help with the dailies, you can run the domains together, which is all the stuff for getting the materials to level up your characters, your weapons, all of that stuff you can run with everybody. Also running around just to get other materials you need, like that are out in the world where you got to fight different enemies. You can have friends help you, so it's not bad. I've actually had quite a couple enjoyable co-op times in Genshin since I've started getting into higher levels.
Yeah, and that's all good. It's just, I think a lot of people, their problem with co-op is the fact that they restrict access, to the rewards, and that's the sucky part. Like, the part to join people and help them is always there. You can do that pretty much with almost every activity, but I think people just complain about, because it's not their world. You know what I mean? Like, that they can't access certain things, like they can't complete a mission with you, right? and get rewards from the mission like you get rewards. You know what I mean? Instead, you know what I mean, they can't loot the chest or they can't do things like that. And I do understand.
Well, they can. I mean, all the domains and monsters, like bosses and everything, they can collect the rewards.
Yeah, and domains. I'm talking about like if you were to pick up a side quest. You know what I
Well,
mean?
yeah,
Like,
but you can't even do that in co-op. That's what I'm saying. You can't even. That's not even.
right.
I mean, you can do your dailies, but I mean, that's it. That's the only type of quest you can do. But even like the event that I mean, and they might be changing it because even the event they did, I think you mentioned in your video that you couldn't collect the rewards if you helped, but you could collect the rewards for all the meteorite things, even if you were in somebody else's world.
Are you talking about the ones that you have to spend resin for, or?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, yeah, no. I knew you can do that. You can spend the resin. They can spend the resin to get those rewards. I think I was referring to the actual like chest and the first part of it. I don't think they can collect the meteorites with you, can they? In your world?
You know that I don't know because I did that solo.
Gotcha.
So I'm not sure on that one, to be completely honest.
So then yeah, you and that could be true too. I don't know. And also too, by the way, I think I have a officially made the decision to stop making content on Genshin unless it's something like big. Like
I kind of already
I'm not
figured
gonna
just watching your YouTube channel because I've noticed that you're getting views a lot better views on the games like Goddess of Genesis and yeah. I've been watching and I saw, your Genshin videos might get like 30 to 50 views where your Goddess of Genesis can range and some of those mobile games can range anywhere lately. I mean, I know you have some that did really well, but lately seem to range about 300 all the way up. I think I've seen like 800 views on some of them.
Yep. Exactly.
Wow.
Within like 24 to 48 hours versus my Genshin shit that'll sit there for almost a week, at 30 views. So that's
I think part of that too is even though you've switched games, those fall more in line with the original game that set off your channel in those idle RPG type games. So I just think whereas Genshin has a mobile aspect to it, but it's not an idle. You actually got to do shit every day in the game that takes time. So I don't think it fit your fan base as well as some of these other ones do. So.
Yep, and that's totally possible too. Like I said, the only thing I'm going to pump out for Genshin is going to be, when like for instance, version 1.2 comes out, you know what I mean? I'll probably do a version 1.2, like patch.
Yeah, more of the bigger stuff then or something.
Yep.
Makes sense. Are you still planning on playing it or are you kind of getting out of it?
Oh, no. I'm still grinding it out. I'm still constantly grinding. I'm almost AR 25 and I'm working on all my side quests and stuff, story quest.
Yeah, I'm surprised how much I've fallen in love with the game, to be completely honest. When I first started playing it, I really only checked it out because, you had mentioned it and stuff, and I'd seen that it was kind of pop, everybody was kind of talking about it and stuff, so I'm like, I'll check it out. I really didn't expect myself to like it as much as I did. Even the way you had to level up everything individually, I thought, man, this is going to get boring really quick. This is going to be stupid, but I've thoroughly been enjoying it.
Yeah, and that's... I don't know. I mean, I really enjoy it. I mean, I enjoy it, but like kind of what we talked about before, I mean, when it comes to enjoying the game, do you know what I mean? And then like having to constantly try to come up with content, to play, you know what I mean? And, also level up the count. It just was too much for me. You know what I mean?
Well, I feel like, sorry, go ahead, finish.
No, you're good. No, you're fine. I was just going to say, so that, that was ultimately my decision was, I want to enjoy the game. You know what I mean? I want to play the game, you know what I mean? And I don't want to have to worry about, playing it and constantly trying to create content on it. I was just like, nah, I'll just go ahead and stop, play the game and enjoy it. But no, dude, I'm having an absolute blast with it too. I think it's a really good, I mean, obviously there is co-op that we just talked about, but I mean, I think the solo aspect and the story and how the game is played is really good.
Yeah, I agree. I like the way the different characters interact with each other when you switch to them and things like that. It's just it's been a lot of fun. Like I said, it's been a long time since I've played an RPG that I've really fallen in love with. I remember, I mean, I've tried out most of them because I've always been an RPG guy most of my life. Especially in the past, I played them really like crazy. But then when I got into League of Legends, I just quit playing pretty much all RPGs because they take so much time. And since quitting League and looking at RPG games, I just haven't found one that really interests me until this one. Again, I am hoping for Cyberpunk. Like I've played other ones that are good. Like what was the Outer Worlds? That was a good RPG, but I just, after about 20 hours in it, I was just kind of done with it. But yeah, I don't know. It's just
Yeah,
it's
Outer
super fun.
Worlds. Outer Worlds. I heard really good stuff about. I've got a couple of my buddies who dumped a lot of time into it, but I heard that it's a really good game. But and this could be wrong, but I think they also mentioned that the replayability was kind of not there, meaning like you put so much time into playing it all the way through, and they enjoyed it and said it was a good game, but I don't think that there was any replay value. Like, why would you replay it?
Well, yeah, I was gonna say most of those RPGs aren't really, as far as I know,
Some of them
really
can be. It depends
replayability.
on the style of
Well, I don't think most people play an RPG to then replay it later. Is what I'm. So I don't.
I put a lot of playthroughs of Mass
Really?
Effect down. Yeah, because there was a lot of different ways you could do shit,
That's what I was gonna say.
and it
really
changed the
depends
story
on
a lot.
Yeah, and it really depends on, like I said, it really depends on the RPG. I mean, if you play like The Witcher, for instance, or like the Dragon Age RPG series, like you could
Lots
the
of
choice
choices.
the choices that you make, right? Like change out the storyline and what quests are available to you. And so with that being the case, that adds a lot of replay value because, people will continue to, replay, those storylines to get all the different quest dialogues or missions. I mean, it really just depends. But then when you got a game like Outer Worlds, or when you got a game like, I'm going to say Genshin, you know what I mean? Like, it's going to be one of those as well. Eventually people are going to beat Genshin, right? Once you beat Genshin and you don't have any more content to cover and the developers stop making content, then there's no replay value. Why would you go back?
I probably would have pointed more towards like the games like God of War
or that's
like,
another good one.
The Last of Us or whatever. Like once you're done with The Last of Us, there's really no reason to go back and replay it. Like you've done everything. Like the story is all that is there. Like God of War, once I got the platinum in that game, I don't have a need to go back to play it. I still might because I really like the story, but there's nothing more to it. Like they haven't added a DLC or anything like that. So
yeah, I guess it's just me then. I guess I just I've never had an interest in replay. I mean, I guess I don't really replay most games, to be honest.
Yeah,
I guess I just assumed most people were like that. Even if they have all the different options and stuff, I just assume, like, I don't know, I chose my options. Why would I go back and change my options later? I would, like, even if I replayed it, like, I'm the type of person, even if I replayed it, I would probably pick the exact same answers.
Yeah.
Because I, like, make the choices based not on, like, oh, what's this going to do to the story, but, like, what I would actually do or whatever. Yasuo in the chat. Kitten time. What's going on, Yasuo? Good to see you tonight, my friend. Good to see you, dude. Ryan says, Reese, do you play PC? He says, nope. He said, I wasted 500 pounds on the new Xbox for it to crash more often than not. Is it crashing a lot, the new Xbox? I'm kind of surprised.
Yeah, there's been so many like bad ratings on it so far.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I mean, I kind of thought that PlayStation had this one. We talked about it a little bit about PlayStation.
There's
and Xbox
also
on the
a problem
one,
about all the new Xbox. All the new Xbox's fans are going off their tit. Like, when you have like a faulty fan, it's always making that like tinging sound.
Yeah.
That's what most Xboxes are sounding like right now.
Oh, so the fans like ramping up high speed and it's providing that squealing. Yeah, I know. That's why I fucking run 120s and everything, dude. As soon as they start coming out the larger fans, I instantly switch my PCs to them. I hate the fucking sound of. I mean, what I would love to do on my next PC build, I almost wanted to do it with this one, but then I needed one so bad and I needed it quick that I didn't want to take the time to learn how to custom water cool, but I'd love to just build a completely water cooled system, custom loop and everything. I think it would be fun just to learn how to do it on top of then having a near silent PC. That's why I'm so impressed with the new Mac stuff. I don't know if anybody keeps up with any of that, but the Apple released their new M1 chip for their computers, which is the MacBook Air, MacBook Pro, and the Mac Mini. I think the Mac Mini too. And they developed their own chip, which combines like the memory, the processor, the graphics, all on one chip. They're like super silent, the PCs, but they like edit through footage and stuff like crazy. I mean, so far everything that's coming out about it, but that's one thing I've always loved about Apple is while I hate their ecosystem, I love their attention to detail when it comes to things like wanting their machines to be noiseless, wanting even their power. I remember when I forget what system it was that Steve Jobs, when he was still around, and they were developing, and he wanted the power supply to be completely noiseless, no fan or nothing. Just the aesthetics and the attention to that kind of stuff that they pay attention to. Like, I love raw horsepower, my beast of a PC. I don't ever see me switching to Mac, just because, again, I don't really care for the ecosystem as much, because it's kind of like, you got to go, like, their ecosystem's great if you go all in on their ecosystem. Like, you own the iPhone, the Mac laptop, the Mac desktop. You own it all. You got Siri, you got, the Apple Pods, the Apple TV. Like, their ecosystem's great when it's all of that. But if you're not completely bought into the system, then that's, and I'm not really one to want to be completely bought into one system.
To further add to that, so I'm on that same point, but I am in the ecosystem. I run all of that. And the reason why I do is because what you've already mentioned, is my system is exactly like at work. I run a Mac because those computers run phenomenally, with the design programs, the Adobe programs. And so I design on a Mac. Not saying my Windows doesn't keep up, because it does, but I design on a Mac, and then me and my wife got iPads, we've got Apple Watches, we've got iPhones, we've literally got everything, with that ecosystem that we keep up with. So when we have all of that, then then it's a no-brainer for us, for us to stay with the Apple stuff. Like, I wouldn't, me personally, I wouldn't buy an Android phone or anything Android, because it wouldn't benefit us.
Right.
You know what I mean? But then, but then again, it all depends, but I don't know. I think personally, after owning a bunch of Mac stuff, I don't know, man. I don't want to be that guy, but I think that Apple, ever since Steve Jobs, has gone, I just don't think that their mission, is exactly the same. Do you know what I mean? Like as it was before. Like, and I say that because even though they're still coming out with certain, cool things, I don't know. I don't think the quality is there anymore. I could be crazy, but
yeah, I don't have enough. Like I said, when the original Apple smartphone came out, I owned that, and I owned iPhones up, I think, until the 4S, and then I switched to, I think it was the Galaxy, either the 5 or 6. I jumped over to Samsung, and then when the Note came out, I jumped to that, and I've been a Note user ever since. But again, I just like the fact that, like, it's Samsung, is the Apple iPhone better than the Note? Like, I would say probably, if I'm being completely unbiased and objective. But again, it's not better if I'm then dealing with a personal computer at my house that's PC. Then I feel like Android's better, because it's so much easier to drop shit. Like, with Apple, if you have your laptop and your phone, you can AirDrop everything. But if you have an iPhone and then you got a PC, they make it, because they have such a closed ecosystem, even apps like Google Drive or OneDrive just don't work very well in the Apple ecosystem.
Yep. And
Chad
I battle that every single time with my setup at home.
Chad said, sorry about the other day. My phone started updating. I just woke up from a nap and seen the notification say you're streaming. Yeah, we're doing the podcast Sunday nights. Good to see you, Chad. He said, it's currently 1:35 a.m. and I have a job interview at 11, but I thought I'd pop in and say, hey, how are you doing? I'm doing great, Chad. Thanks for stopping in. Reese says, I hate the new Xbox. Trying to get above around 50 on Cold War Zombies is near impossible. This game would just crash. That sucks. All right, and then a bunch of Ryan and Reese just chatting to each other, so I'm going to kind of just scroll through that, let them enjoy their conversation. Talking about Rocket League. I ain't played Rocket League in so fucking long, dude.
You should
People still play that game? People still play that game?
Bro, that game, dude, back in the day, dude, like, I'm gonna say like 2 years ago, I think, at least, I was grinding out that game hardcore on the Xbox, man. It was awesome.
Same. Well,
I dig the music, dude. Like, as you're freaking playing the matches, just the rave music is legit.
Yeah, but
the music on is the best.
And I would always make like the gayest looking cars. Like I'd try to come up with like the gayest rainbowy like just cars to play. And then I'm always the shit talker too. Like, you know, I'd be slaying kids, you know, like in matches and online matches. And I would just every time somebody gets a score, I'm always like popping off, you know, the D-pad, you know, like suck it, you know, whatever. Like
No.
I was even doing the custom messages, dude.
Now hold on. So you're telling me you're one of like the worst players ever on my list. The ones like, let's say you score a goal, you're one of them people that spam what a save in chat, wouldn't you?
That's me too.
Not what a save. Not what a save. I'm the person that would spam like good job, nice shot. Like, you know what I mean? Like constantly spamming that.
I was a spammer as well.
Yeah, dude. And then I'm the guy, like I said, you know, as soon as the, you know, the credits rolled or whatever, you know, when you can type in the custom chats, you know, I'd always type in custom stuff too. I would always be like, yeah, right. What do you guys think now, boys? Or something like that. And then there's always people like on the other team, like thumbs downing it, you know what I mean? Or like talking shit back or, you know, whatever. No, dude, I was hardcore that guy.
Dude, Rocket League is a toxic community anyways. Let's be honest, people. Let's be honest, Ryan.
Hardcore. It's about as
No.
Toxic ass.
It's worse than League of Legends. Yep.
No.
It's worse.
Hold up. It probably is worse than League of Legends. But
League of Legends is pretty toxic.
There's a game that you're never beaten in, and that game is called Rust. I'm sorry, but you ain't beating the toxicity.
Rust is toxic as fuck as well.
Is it toxic though? Or
I was gonna say I don't know that it's toxic.
Or just people just not nice to newcomers.
Yeah,
not just nice and just bad talk. And bare racist, bad AMR. They will scream the N-word at you.
Yeah, true.
See, I never played. See, I don't think I've ever played with that in Rust. Now, I didn't play a whole lot of Rust, but I just remember like the couple PvP servers that I did, there was no talking. We would just get absolutely annihilated. Like within like the first 5 minutes that, you know, we were trying to, you know, harvest some trees, you know what I mean, and pick up stuff and gather materials to build a little base. And then people would just roll up, you know, like on a goat cart, you know what I mean, or like a freaking, you know, chopper, and they just start laying waste to us. And I was like, dude, we have nothing. We have absolutely nothing. What are you getting out of this besides killing us and wasting our time?
They're keeping it that way to make sure you have nothing. They're keeping their dominance on the server.
Clearly.
All of those kind of games generally tend towards that sooner or later. They've done studies for it. Like, sooner or later, every one of those kind of games tends towards shoot on sight. There's no reason to do otherwise after a bit, because everybody else starts doing that too. So there's no community. It's just, well, I'm out to get mine, and that's it.
Oh yeah, no, and I get that. And not only that, like you already said, I mean, you know, once they've unlocked so much stuff, or, you know, once they basically hit that max level, there is nothing else to do. You know what I mean? You get on, you grind whatever daily grind that you're gonna do in the game, and then the rest of the time it's like either you don't play the game or you just run around and hunt and kill people.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's kind of the point of the game. Once you get all your stuff built, the only object you then have is to run around and like kill people and basically dominate the server. So I mean, it's kind of. I
wasn't even talking about the end game. I was just talking in general. Like, in general, the basic tendency towards the players, it goes from, are they going to kill me? Should I kill them? To see them, kill them. No hesitation. No, worry about it. No nothing.
Yeah, and then every now and then,
that's what kills those games' communities, because you have to have that ambiguity to make those games work. Because otherwise, there's no fun. There's no new players. Because if a new player is just going to get shot by every single person they see, what's the point in being a new player? Just don't play. Or you go and get an unpopulated server for yourself, and you build your own shit, and then you do the same thing to other people, because, well, they're going to do it to me, so I better do it to them.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I get what you're saying, but I kind of disagree, to be completely honest, as I'm sitting here thinking about it. Because, like, when I've played DayZ and stuff, like, yeah, that happens. But I would honestly say it's about 50-50. There's plenty of times I go up to somebody and start talking to them. In Rust, too, when I used to play it. And, like, they'd be cool. Like, they didn't kill me instantly.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying, generally speaking, the trend is towards... It goes from, at the start of a thing, it's always... it's 50-50, maybe not, maybe so, but then it always tends to trend towards just shoot on site.
But
And it
I get your
kills the
point
game.
though, Derek. I get your point because
Yeah.
I've had people that were like that in Rust too. Do you mean where they did? You mean where I would roll up on them? You know what I mean? And then as long as I was friendly, you know what I mean? And talking to them or chat or whatever, really quick. They weren't necessarily kill on sight. They were hesitant. I mean, and treated me as such, which they should. You know what I mean? But they weren't kill on sight. And then sometimes, there was just always, good players. You know what I mean? The ones that were just kind of like, oh, are you new? Okay, well here's a bunch of stuff. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
To get you started.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, to be honest, I would actually say I'm not saying the studies that you're talking about, Wolf, aren't right. I don't know. I never read.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying from my personal experience, actually, I would say more so than not, people don't kill me in those games. Like DayZ, when I played it, more so than not, if I ran up on somebody, it was more like, hey, chit chat for a couple minutes. It's like, all right, I'm going this way, you go that way, and we don't got a problem. We're both trying to farm up, get stuff.
How long ago was it that you played DayZ though?
A couple months ago, I played it a couple times. Yeah,
Huh. I don't remember.
Played it on stream a couple times.
Yeah, he played it on stream.
Okay, fair enough.
Rust
I'm
about
not
6 months ago, I played it
it's
again.
outright, 100% that way.
With
I'm
Ryan.
just saying, I actually think it might have to do with the servers, though.
I mean,
Like,
you
I think
definitely
it's,
got those
the
people.
longer
Like,
a
I don't
server-
disagree.
Yeah,
That are
no,
shoot on
I'm
sight.
thinking,
I mean,
it's as a server ages, the people in it tend to trend that way.
well, I think that's
as opposed
why Rust and them do, like, almost every server has wipes either weekly, monthly, or whatever frequency it is.
Well, I was talking about just the fan base in that server, not the people as their the server wipes. I'm saying the people who tend towards the same servers tend towards particular styles of gameplay.
Yeah, I'm not
Ergo,
sure.
if
I
you
don't
run
I don't play them
Yeah,
enough to
like I
really
said,
know
I
too
don't.
much
Yeah,
about it.
like I said, I don't know. I know from listening to someone that's very passionate about the subject.
Right,
Same guy that did those videos I sent you,
right,
which
right.
you probably still haven't watched.
Still haven't, dude. I don't
Yeah, I
have
know.
free time, man.
I know, man. I'm not worried about it.
If they're I did watch the video Princess gave me I think it was last week on the stream when we were talking. It was really good, but that is like a 4-minute video versus hours of content. Reese says, well, I'm about to go to
those two
bed
are
because
very
it's
short.
1:45 and I got college tomorrow. So Derek, enjoy your stream. And Ryan, nice talking to you, bro. Yo, have a good night, Reese. Thanks for stopping into the stream tonight, my friend. Hope you have a great night. Great night. Guys, so like not to totally switch topics, but I'm gonna totally switch topics. So if you guys remember last week I mentioned Bitcoin over 16,000. Bitcoin
it's
over
18, isn't it?
18,000 now.
Yeah.
Hit 19, broke 19,000 for a second this week, and then dropped back down, sitting in the 18,000 range again. Crazy!
remember
It's just
when
crazy to me that it's going back up so much. Like it's about to break the all-time high. And like last time when it was getting to these numbers, like everybody and their mother was talking about Bitcoin and freaking out. Now like nobody's talking about it.
Yeah, well, I was
shocks me.
gonna say that. Remember when last time we brought up Bitcoin and we were talking about it being at 16 or whatever it was, and I told you that my dad ironically had reached out to me and talked about wanting to buy some Bitcoin, and I kind of, it's not that I steered him away, but I had explained to him, because he didn't know what it was, and I explained to him that it, it is kind of like, playing the stock market in a sense, you invest in, you invest in it, and, you hope that it goes up, and then you got to buy and sell or, hold on to it, never sell it, whatever. And I just explained it to him. Well, he ended up not doing anything. And then guess what? As soon as it went up, he instantly messaged me and was like, should have bought fucking Bitcoin. I was like, well, maybe next time don't fucking ask me then, because I have no clue. I was like, I was just telling you how what I knew about it. I said, and I don't know enough about it. You know what I mean? In order for, me to buy into it, I have no clue.
Is there anybody in here? I know Codations doesn't. Ryan, do you, or does anybody in chat? Does anybody else besides me in here own any Bitcoin at all? I'm gonna take that as a no. Pretty says, "Oh, the video with the guy talking. Yes, it was really good, really good." Reese says, "See you all in the next stream." All right, Reese, have a good night, my friend.
Wait,
yeah,
Derek,
but
you have Bitcoin?
yeah, I own Bitcoin, dude.
Do you have?
Huh?
How many Bitcoins do you have?
I don't disclose that kind of stuff, man. I don't talk about how much of any. I have stocks. I would never tell anybody how much I have. It's just not a wise thing to do.
Okay.
I
that
could
was
have
out of
I
one,
could have
but
hundreds of
I don't even
thousands.
know
I
what
could
it
have millions. Either way, I wouldn't tell. It's just not any. If you have any kind of accountant, the first thing they'll tell you is don't tell
Well, I
people how
definitely
much money you
wouldn't
have.
say it's in the millions.
I will say, here's what I will say. Yasuo says, if I could, I would. Dude, what do you mean if you could, you would? You just gifted me 5 subs the last stream. That was 25. That's $50 you could have put into Bitcoin. You can literally buy any amount you want. You don't have to like buy a full Bitcoin. It's not like a stock where you got to buy a full. Well, even that, you don't have to buy full stocks anymore, shares. What I will say though, Ryan, actually, since you brought it up, what I will say is at one point, I owned about 500 Bitcoin in the early days when I first got into Bitcoin.
Before it started making like bare money right now.
When it was like a couple dollars per Bitcoin, I had gotten up to. I was mining Bitcoin.
So you're telling me like right now,
and
like,
I owned
you
like
kept
like over 500. And then what happened is Bitcoin kind of had the first wave where it went up a lot in value and then crashed, and it went up, and it like started shooting up and it started climbing, and it had this big bull run. It went up to like $1,000 and then crashed back to like $100. And when it crashed back down to $100, I didn't quite know enough about the technology, and then I started questioning myself. So when it got back up to around, I think like $200, it started creeping back up some. I thought, you know what? Maybe this is not going to work out, and I should just sell it all. And I did. I sold all like 500 and something Bitcoins
Wait,
for
so you're
around
saying,
like $270 a Bitcoin. And I mean, again, I got them for a couple dollars, so I still made out on that
Right.
sale. But then when I started, but then I sold them all. And then nearly right after I sold, then the next run came where that shit went up to like, I don't know. I think I wanted like the $5,000 mark. It just kept climbing, shot up again. And that's when I started buying back in. And then it went all the way up to like the high, which was like 19,000. And then it crashed all the way back down to like 4,000. And when I started getting back in the first time, it hit like 4,000 or 5,000. I've been buying ever since on a schedule. I buy every single week more Bitcoin.
So, like overall, then, if you had them 500, and you still had them right now, and they're like what, going like 16,000 a piece?
18,000, yeah.
That's like 18,000 times 500, right?
Yeah.
You would be fucking rich.
I'd
right
be a
now.
millionaire, multi-millionaire. Multi-millionaire.
Yep.
See, only if time travel was a thing right now, so you travel back, be like, don't sell them Bitcoin.
Yeah, you never know. I mean, that's called in the stock market world, we call it the same thing. In Bitcoin, we call it the same thing. It's called trying to time the market. Like I said, I was younger. I mean, this was again when Bitcoin was a couple dollars. You're talking 10 years ago, 11 years ago. So I mean, it was a long time ago. I was young. I didn't know a lot. I was only like maybe, I don't know, 21, 22. So, mistakes made. I mean, I learned my lesson. Now I don't sell anything. I just keep accumulated. Yasa says, I invest into you. You're my stocks. I'm just waiting for the profit from the ads. Yo, I do appreciate it. I wasn't saying you shouldn't invest in me because you should. Because I appreciate it. Yeah. And also because I think I'm a good person to invest in because I always try to also bring others around me up with me and try to help as much as I can. So I think it pays off in the long run to invest in good people. But anyways,
Hey, everybody on podcast.
AKA hit that subscribe, like, donate. No, bye.
Donate me some money, baby.
Just kidding. But again, I know not really anyone in here, at least in the chat, really invest in Bitcoin or anything. But I had to mention that over 18,000 again. I'm pumped. It's sweet.
Dude, I think, for me personally, I think this kind of goes back to like the last podcast for me is it literally isn't that I don't do it because I don't want to or any other reason. It's literally because I don't know enough about it. Do you know what I mean? And I have not put forth the effort to learn about it.
Boom.
You know what I mean? In order to to invest. I mean, that's the same thing with like stocks. Do you know what I mean? Like, I know a lot of people, that have been. I've got a buddy to be or you know what? We're on podcast. I might as well tell the story, right?
Right. Just to interrupt you before you start it, Ryan, thanks for that $1 dono, dude. I love you, man.
You said donate.
I was kidding, but yes, I was half kidding. Actually, I say that, and I don't know why. I don't know why I'm like so like, yes, I want people to donate to me. Is that a bad thing? Thank you.
Yeah,
I want to make a living doing what I love.
I mean, I was gonna say there's nothing wrong with that. I mean,
I always feel so bad though. I'm always like, oh my god, somebody actually.
Nah.
Like when Yasuo donated those 5 gifted subs, the other live stream, I legitimately felt super bad that he did that inside. I don't know why. I have this weird aversion to like getting anything from anybody. Probably part of the issues in my life.
There was a Twitch streamer on Twitch, right? She got donated like $500, and she was like that's not enough. That's not enough. It's like, what the fuck? You just got donated 500, and you're saying that's not enough? You're lucky if you even get a penny off of me.
Yeah, I will tell you this. I do agree with that, right? Like, I do agree with that. There is a point where I feel like if a person gets to a point, even if they're super big, you know what I mean? I just don't think there's an excuse. Like if they neglect it, do you know what I mean? Or they get to the point where $500 donos don't phase them anymore. You know what I mean? Like it, like a $1 or a $5 does to like a streamer like me. You know what I mean? Or like a content creator like Derek. I don't know, man. Like I just feel like it's kind of like a shitty, I don't know, like a shitty personality. Like, to give you guys an example,
Of like what I just said.
what is his damn name? What's his damn name? We talk about him all the time. Asmongold. You know what I mean? That I've talked to you, Derek, about, like, you watch his stuff. There's so many times where I see in the chat where people will drop like $500, you know what I mean? And sometimes he doesn't even notice it, or he doesn't even like say anything. He's like, oh, thanks for the dono, and keeps on going. And I just think like, dude, that's $500. Like, why isn't somebody making a big fucking deal about it? But then again, I don't know. I'm not that person. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, somebody donates $5 in my stream, and I'm just freaking out. It's $5. But
yeah, I will say, I mean, there definitely comes a point, I think, for larger streamers where, like, for example, Tyler won because he's one of the biggest. Asmongold probably as well. They could, like, literally, they get so many, like, because I've even heard Linus Tech Tips talk about this because they do a podcast live on the internet. And he said there's literally so many donations coming in, which he appreciates. But he said there's literally like the entire stream would be nothing but him thanking donos. He said they're literally coming in. He said, not all huge ones, they might be $1 or might be, but he said they literally are pouring in the entire time they're streaming. He said, and literally he would be reading them.
Yeah.
Now, again, most bigger streamers still acknowledge the bigger donos. I'm surprised Asmongold doesn't.
TFS, they usually do that. They'll wait till the end, and then they'll look through them and be like, holy shit, that guy gave, like, thank you, dude. Like, we didn't notice it.
Yeah, that's how Linus does. He does them at the end.
Yeah, and they might, and he might have done that. I can't say he didn't, because, I mean, like, the stream that I was watching, obviously he streams for a lot longer, than, an hour or two.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I didn't see the end of the stream, so maybe, he did go back and say that. But it's just like, sometimes, dude, like, I don't know, man. Like I said, all I have to compare it to, is my streams, and I just think, like, somebody drops $1, right? And I'm just like, I'm over the moon. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh, dude, thank you very much for the, $1 dono, dude. You know what I mean? I give him a shout out, talk to him for a couple seconds or whatever, continue moving forward. But I don't know. Somebody dropped $500, dude.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. I mean, there definitely does come a point where the smaller ones, they're just so many in a stream. I know some of these guys, I've heard several of them talk about it, where it's like they wish they could address every single person, every single dono, but they just don't have that. Their stream would be nothing but them talking about donos. And then they said, then the problem is, like, that's not what any of the viewers actually want. Yeah, the individual person wants to be thanked for their dono, but everybody else watching, the 20,000 people watching the stream, no one wants to sit there and listen to a streamer the entire stream just saying, oh, thanks for the dono, thanks for the dono. In fact, and I would agree with that. I mean, and it's twofold, because I've donated a stream, and if they don't say anything, I get offended. Like, I'll be honest, sometimes I'm like, damn, they didn't even let's reply to my fucking shit. But I mean, I've also been in streams with larger streamers where they literally like do try to thank every dono, and after a while you're just sitting there like, oh my god, can we just play the fucking game? Like, so I get it. Now, and again, I don't want to, because I want to hear your story. You were going to talk about Bitcoin, but since we kind of went down this rabbit hole, I got to say, so I don't know if any of you guys saw recently where it's been a couple weeks now, so this is not breaking news or anything. But did you guys see like Pokimane? She's a huge League of Legends streamer, also does stream other games, Among Us, and she's been doing groups. But did you see she worked with Streamlabs, the website most of us use for donos, to where she limited that the max anybody could donate to her was $5. She actually set a max dono of $5. It's like it's like, as far as I know, it's the first streamer. Streamlabs didn't even have an option in their software to do it. They had to specifically do it for her in order to limit how much somebody could donate. She just said, like, I don't need the money.
I was gonna say, did she do that just because she doesn't need the money and
yeah,
or
yep.
But the nice part about that too though is that kind of I don't know how to explain it. That kind of like levels, like, like the viewers. Does that make sense? You know what I mean? Like, it kind of like levels them, because, instead of, one person being in the stream, right, that can only donate $5, right? They drop a $5 dono, right? And then, you got a person right after that dropping, a $50 dono. You know what I mean? Like, they're not really on the same level, you know what I mean? Like, in the terms of that. So I think that's kind of cool. You know what I mean? Like, everybody's on the same level. You drop a $5 dono, I drop a $5 dono. Nobody knows the difference.
Yep. Princess says that's really nice of her. Yeah, that was my thought, and same as what Codation's saying. I thought, oh, that's cool. She says she doesn't need the money. So, she's like, I've made it, basically. Like, I've become a successful streamer. You guys have given me enough. I don't need all these huge donos anymore, whatever. Limit my donos to $5 max on my stream. Like, cool. But I was surprised at how much flack she got from it, from both viewers and from other streamers. Igor says, hello. Hey, Igor, how you doing, my friend? Hope you're having a good night. Let me say the streamers first, because I guess that'll make the most sense. So a lot of streamers gave her flack because they said she was setting a bad precedent for other streamers, because now other large streamers, if they don't do the same, they look like assholes and stuff.
Gotcha. Okay.
Which the truth is, like, yeah, you do. But, like, how much, money do you really, I don't know. We live in a weird time. I feel like we're seeing it with I think for the first time in our lives, in our lifetime, people are starting to say, like, listen, there's no reason for you to make millions and millions of dollars. Like, there's a limit that, like, after that much, you're just being a greedy motherfucker. But yeah, there was a lot of a lot of big vocal streamers that said, like, basically, like, oh, now that you made it and you made all these millions and millions and millions of dollars getting these huge donos, now you limit it to $5, and it makes every other person that might not be as far as Pokimane, who's one of the top streamers. She is the top female streamer on Twitch. Maybe somebody that is just now starting to get that money, that kind of donos. So they don't have millions saved up like Pokimane has over the last couple years from all those donos. They're saying they make them look bad. So, I can get it, but again, Princess says, wait, why though? It's her stream. I agree 100%. I think it was super dope of her. Like, let me just say that my opinion on the matter. I think it was super dope of her. I think it was super kind of her. Nice. I think she, probably thought long and hard about it, and probably thought, like, I just don't need the money and I hate all that. But then, like I said, there was a lot of viewers that got upset at her as well. Igor says, how's everyone doing tonight? Doing great, Igor. Welcome to the podcast, by the way, that we do live every Sunday night over on Twitch. No game tonight, just heads up, FYI, since you're new around these parts. By the way, Codations, Igor is a freaking awesome Genshin player, dude. He has helped me out a ton. So you should definitely add him in game and stuff, and do some shit with him, because he's cool. He's always looking for friends too, so. But anyway, so yeah, viewers.
I feel like I've met him voice.
I think it was in the stream. Yeah, he was. Yep, he plays in voice with me. We do a lot. I was gonna say, I think he was on one night when you stopped in the chat for just a few. He was playing with me.
Okay, gotcha.
The viewers all got mad because there was people that said, like, listen, like, don't tell me what to do. Like, basically, I'm paraphrasing. Don't tell me what to do with my money. If I want to donate $5,000 to you, I'll donate $5,000. Like, who are you to tell me what I can or can't do with my, like, I don't care if you don't need it, basically. I still want to give it to you. Like, I get a lot of enjoyment out of your content. I get a lot of whatever. Like, I want to support you like this. It brings me joy to support you like this. Again, I'm paraphrasing, but that was basically the you know, the argument
I
on
mean,
that side. Because some of
that's
her
kinda
very
weird.
big donators that have been donating big amounts to her for years, got upset as well. But it says people always find a issue with her. Well, any large streamer is always gonna. Well, that's not just large. I mean, it just doesn't happen as much when you're smaller. But there's plenty of people that come in my chat that criticize what I do or the way I play or anything like that. People, if you do anything public, you're gonna get criticism. I'm sure people criticize your artwork on Twitter once in a while, Princess. I think it just kind of comes with the territory. Not that it makes it right, but just saying. Brendan says either it's people are calling her a thought for getting huge donos from random people, or people are complaining that her limiting donos is making life bad for them. Like, what the fuck? I agree 100%. All right, so what's your
but
guys' thoughts on that, Codations? On what the two reasons I just told you and what all I said?
I mean, from my standpoint, I don't know, man. I'm kind of all over the board. I kind of see both, and the only reason why I see part of the opinion on the streamers is because, in a way, yeah, it does set this precedent, right? Because I mean, you got to think of like any professional, profession, right? I mean, like, you do get to a point where everybody else kind of like, if you do something or make a move, right? Like it's the same way with like Hollywood and like big star actors and stuff. If you get an actor, who decides to take their entire paycheck, right, from like a movie, right, and invest it into something, or to give it all to somebody else or something else, it kind of like sets that precedent, right? Like there's going to be other people out there, they're going to be like, well, geez, this actor's an asshole. You mean he hasn't donated any of his salary for the X amount of movies, So I mean, like I kind of understand that concept, but at the same time, it's content creation, right? I mean, like, which technically goes down in the books as art. You know what I mean? Like as in like, it's basically a person's stream that they do whatever they want to do, whenever they want to do it, however they want to do it. You know what I mean? So like, I mean, like it shouldn't really set a precedent, you know what I mean? Like on the other note, you know what I mean? Because that's her stream, you know what I mean? And if people, like viewers, right, if they, in my opinion, if they make that connection, right, and they don't want to watch somebody because they think he's an asshole because he still accepts donos after being a huge person or has made a shit ton of money, I mean, I think that's kind of like stupid, right? I mean, like I don't, I feel like that'd be a dumb reason to to stop watching a content creator that you enjoy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because they're not doing the same thing that another streamer is doing. That's the reason why they have their own stream. You know what I mean? Because they're different, they're a different person. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I kind of see it. I could see where they're coming from, but at the same time, no, it shouldn't matter. I'm 100%
It's her stream.
down.
She should do what she wants
Right.
to do. Yeah.
Right.
I will
right,
say
yeah.
the other one last argument I heard is some people said it sounds like she's doing this out of the goodness of her heart. Now that she's had it done for a couple weeks, but they said one thing that they've noticed is most of these big streamers don't like we were talking about with Asmongold, don't respond to $5 donos, $1 donos, things like that. They kind of only reply to the big ones. Whereas they say with her limited it, she's still getting lots of people to donate. Even maybe the same person that donated her a lot of money before is still donating her just in smaller increments at a time. But now she's not replying to any donos. So a lot of people say it sound like it. They say it could be, and I'm not saying this. I'm just giving the full picture. And I do think it's interesting. You never know people's true intentions, which is what's always interesting to me about it. But they said that it was actually a way for her to still make plenty of money. She's still going to get plenty of donos at $5 max. But now she doesn't have to acknowledge any donos the entirety of her stream, because she did still acknowledge big ones up until this change. Like she never not acknowledged the big ones that came through.
So you think that was intentionally?
No, I didn't say that. I'm not saying that.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm.
There's people that are
responding
questioning
back. I mean,
that because they're
questioning
saying,
it by
yep,
saying that.
they're saying that it was intentionally done because she just got tired of having to respond to donos at all. And that it's not as innocent as it sounds, because again, if they said, if you look at it now, she just, because they're limited to 5, like cool, people are still donating. She's not at least picking out once in a while some of those $5 donos and shouting out those people or thanking them for the dono. She's just not saying anything about donos anymore. Whereas before she would still say stuff to the big donos. So it's like, well, if you're limiting it, why don't you, and again, this is the argument they're giving, but like, why don't you, and you don't want to do all the $5 donos because there's too many, but now you're not acknowledging anybody that's donated. you could at least
Right.
still call out some of those $5 ones once in a while. And I don't even know if she does or not,
You're
because
just
I
saying
don't
that's
watch
what they're
her.
stating.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't watch her personally. I'm married with wife. I don't watch. No.
I actually
yeah.
have no clue. I actually have no clue who she is, to be honest with you. So
She's the biggest female streamer on Twitch. Female streamer.
okay.
She's probably top, I'm just guessing, 20 on the entire platform.
Okay, but let
Terms
me
of
ask you
streamers.
this. But I mean, but is that because she was like, one of the first female streamers,
No.
and she's just made it that big this long? Or she's
Um,
just really good. Like she's actually good at games and competitive and stuff.
She's definitely a gamer. I don't, there's all, you see, when girls first came into the space, and she was one of the first girls to kind of come into the streaming space, everybody gave her flack, like, oh, girls, she's not a real gamer. No, she's a real fucking gamer. She plays fucking games like all the time. Even if she's streaming games and like she's playing games all the fucking time, she's a fucking gamer.
Right.
And she was good at League of Legends. Like it wasn't like she was just like there was plenty of just girl streamers on there. She was actually good at League of Legends. Top tier player. So yeah, I mean, you don't become a top tier player by not being a gamer, like by hardly ever playing a game or by.
Right. I just meant like literally I have no clue who she is. Like until you mentioned her in this stream, I've never even heard of this person. And that's also my fault because I mean, obviously I don't follow like, a lot of like other games that I don't play. You know what I mean? Like, I don't play League of Legends, Jimmy. I don't play any of those, some of those other games that she probably plays. So I don't know her.
As a thought,
Mhm.
I wonder maybe if the reason she's not acknowledging donos is because she doesn't want them anymore. 'Cause maybe
that's
what
possible.
it is. Maybe it's a matter of I set this up. You can give me money if you want, but I'm not going to acknowledge it because I don't want it.
Wait, but
I
then
don't
why
need
not
it.
just turn them off completely?
That could have been the idea, but I mean,
Hmm.
maybe she just didn't want to go quite that far. I don't know.
I don't either.
That's
That's
a theory out.
I mean that's a pretty damn good counter argument though, D. I mean, if she didn't want the donos, then she could have just turned the fuckers off.
Well, and she never said she didn't want donos, just to clarify.
No,
I was just saying that in
I know
response.
that.
I wasn't
No, I
saying
know
that
that.
either. I'm just saying that might
Yeah,
be.
I'm just saying. I'm
without
playing
asking the
counter
lady, I
arguing to
can't tell
both.
one way or the other. But
Right.
Brenda says, wouldn't that just leave the people who want to donate big the option to donate to smaller streamers who would like bigger donos? You would think, but actually, according to data I've seen and just other people that work in the industry and stuff, that's not true. Most of the people that donate big are not actually donating big because of their like of the streamer. Most really big donos, I mean, I'm sure there's some, but the majority, especially they said when it's big donos in big channels, from the data looks like it's more about the attention because they know so many people are watching
not
those
surprising at
streams
all.
and they know those big donos are going to get reactions out of the streamers and stuff. Again, there's plenty I'm sure that do it just out of their love for, I would say probably more so if you find a person supporting a small streamer that donates big, like some of the mid-tier streamers that have like 1,000 to 2,000 viewers, and they got a couple guys in there that are really like donate quite a bit that are basically, sustaining them. They're probably doing it for their love of it. But in a lot of the big channels, at least, again, I'm not an expert by any means at it. I'm only going off of hearsay. So this could all be wrong. People would have to fact check this themselves. But
No,
just
you're
things
not.
I remember from hearing, just from listening to stuff in the stream world, because I'm myself trying to grow. Most of the time on those big channels, it's just for attention.
That is normally what it is a lot of times. Like there's even streamers too that I've watched that I've been in, like even like on YouTube, where people will purposely like donate to them just to get their name like on the screen. Like that's literally all they do. Like, you know what I mean? So I mean, and there's that's that. I think in the sense of it, like overall, I think there's a lot of people that's what most of the donos, that are coming in, all the time, the entire stream, people are just trying to, go for attention.
And like, especially in the big streams. I mean, again, I know some people that support some smaller stream, and I mean, I'm sure, again, because I don't want to like say, oh, everybody, I'm sure there's some people that have been in Pokemon's channel from the beginning that have really been donators of her and stuff like that, and because those are some of the people that got the most upset with her in terms of the viewers, so I'm sure those people exist. I'm just saying, from my understanding, the data, especially in the larger channels, skew to that. So I mean, again, there's good people out there just as much as there's bad people out there.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, and I would agree with that. You know what I mean? Like, and then I don't know. I mean, there's probably strategic. donos too. You mean?
For
there's
sure.
probably a little bit of strategic stuff. I mean, you've done that in some of my streams when I first ever started doing live streams. It was actually ironic how it worked. You popped in there, you dropped a $5 dono, and then like for whatever reason, 4 people right after you dropped donos, and that was the first donos I've ever received. So it was just strategically worked how it worked. I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah, no, it does work like that. If
Not
someone
even-
subscribes to my channel or someone donates, a lot of times it'll prompt a second dono or a second subscribe. A lot, not always, but a lot of times it does. It does.
But what is that? I mean, what's that? What's the psychology behind that? Is it because somebody else did? They feel they need to, or they were scared to
Oh,
do it, so they
monkey
wait
see,
until
monkey
somebody
do.
else?
I think it's just more of a reminder. I think people just aren't always thinking about it, or aren't always. I don't know, to be honest. I don't know. I donate strictly 2 reasons. I'll tell you. Mine are, number one, I donate just because the streamers and I don't watch a lot anymore because I'm just producing so much of my own content, but the ones that I do watch religiously, that I've been following for years, that I watch, I subscribe and sometimes donate to those channels. Outside of that, all of my donos are strategic, to be completely honest. They are me and other smaller streamers channels, and it's stupid, to be honest, but it's more of making friends on the platform. And I'm not afraid to say this because they do it as well. Like I'll go donate I'll go donate or sub to Reserved Comic, who we rated at the end of the last stream that we had. He'll come and subscribe. Like, really, Twitch is the only one making money. But psychologically, when you put money in the game, it definitely does something psychologically.
And that's, I mean, like I said, I've done it back to you. There's been times, where I've done it to you too. And like, that's what I'm saying. And that's the interesting part, is, I don't know. It's weird. It's just weird how it works, man. I don't know.
I think it's just trying to show other people that you support them. I mean, even some people, it's just because they watch your content. Others because they're trying to make friends with other streamers. And again, you got some people that do it strictly for attention. Mine's never been about attention personally. I can say that. It's never been. It's more of either I really enjoy their content and watch it a lot, and I'm very much, the type of person like, they're doing this stuff, support them. I mean, I want people to support me. I support people that I watch and stuff I subscribe to and stuff.
Right.
But sometimes I also do it just to try to be nice, I guess. I don't know. Like, I don't really watch their content. I don't really consume a lot of but I'm just doing it to just try to be nice and maybe make a friend. I don't know.
Right.
Ryan says, not going to be rude or anything, but I just caught on what we were talking about, XD. By the way, going to go in 15 minutes. All right, Ryan, no worries. Ryan, I know you're still in the Discord. You can jump in if you got opinions on any of this at all. Or
As much as I'd like to say it, but I am not much of a podcast guy after this.
Yeah, no worries.
It's the
That's
thing
all right, my
is,
dude.
it's not the thing about it being boring, because it's not boring, if you get what I'm saying. Because I do find it interesting, but it's hard to get in an opinion on something when it's just like, because everyone has this piece to say, but it's just like, once I listen to someone else, then the part that I want to say has already been said. That's the part I find hard.
Yeah. Well, typically that's why I have on only like 3 people, max at a time or whatever, because it does kind of become a back and forth between 2 people, most podcasts.
By the way, I'm probably gonna go here soon too.
I mean, I am a great
no
listener.
worries.
All right.
Um,
I'll see you guys some other time.
all right,
sure.
Wolf. Yep. Have a good night, my
Man,
friend.
take it easy.
Later,
It
guys.
says that sounds like a psychology thing. It's a competition thing. Yeah, I mean, again, I think there's plenty of people that do it just out of the goodness of their hearts. I really do. Like, I think most people do it just out of the goodness of their hearts because they like the person, they watch the person, they become friends with the person. All that. I mean, I just think people do. But again, I do think there's that small set that do it just for attention. But again, I said all that basically to say that I don't think it's a huge set of people that are doing it for attention. I think most people do it because they're being kind people, like donate and stuff.
Right. No, and I like I said, I mean, I've seen both, man. I've literally seen, you know what I mean, people or been in streams, you know what I mean, that donate to people, and that's literally because they, like you said, you mean, they absolutely genuinely care. I mean, and love the streamer, they want to support them, they want to help them with whatever, you know what I mean, whatever their mentality is, so they feel good about, giving them some money or helping them. And then I've seen the opposite, where there is that competition, side where, that competitiveness, somebody donates something, $5, and then they get their name mentioned. And let's say, the content creator, gives them a shout out, so somebody drops $10, right? They're like, whoa, dude, thanks, man, whatever his name is, and then they're like, thanks for the $10 dono, dude. That's awesome. Whatever they say. Right. And then the next thing, 2-3 minutes later goes by, and then boom, a $20, a $20 dono drops, you know what I mean? And then, all their, a lot of those, do end up being because, of attention. You know what I mean? Because people want, to get attention. Speaking of donos, that was one of the biggest things that still to this day, even as a content creator, blows my mind. And I think the reason why I feel like it blows my mind is because of the selfish, mindset, or like mentality, that I've kind of always had, you know what I mean? Like we've already just talked about this a little bit on the last podcast, but like it still to this day blows my mind when I hop into like a large stream, right? Like let's say like a Dr. Disrespect, right? Or like something huge, that's like thousands of people watching them play a game, right? And it blows my mind when people drop money to that person, right? But it's interesting to me because I'm a gamer, right? I enjoy playing games. Do you know what I mean? Like if my wife, which happened in the, when we first got together, right? Like in the past, ever was like, oh my God, it's just a game. Get off the game, right? Or, or just turn it off. You don't need to play it or, that whole situation with couple stuff, right? Like
absolutely.
When that would happen in the past, right? Like, it would piss me off. To the point where I'm like, yeah, it is a game, you know what I mean? But it's like something I'm passionate about, you know what I mean? It's something that I enjoy doing, you know what I mean? With my free time type of thing, it's not just a game, that I want to just turn it off and ditch on somebody, you know what I mean? Type of thing.
Yep.
So I understand that concept, but at the same time, it's still baffles me that there are people out there who just like tuning in to a streamer or a content creator and is willing to give like their own money. Do you know what I mean? Like to a person playing a game. Like that concept to me still ticks off sometimes, and I'm blown away with it. I'm like, because all my mind I'm thinking is, well, don't they have bills? Like, don't they have shit they need to do other, better to do with that money? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But then on the flip side, I'm making content creation and I'm just hoping every live stream somebody drops donos. So I mean, like, I don't know, it's hypocritical, but like, I don't know. It's weird to me.
I don't know that it's hypocritical. I mean, I think it, like you said it at the end, and I think it shows where your heart is it's more that you just, because you even said like when they drop donuts on you, you're like, oh, don't they have something better to spend money on, bills or food or something they need?
Right.
So it is hard, but and to be honest, like if I'm being complete, like I was the same way in the beginning when I first started, when I made the switch over from cable TV, those type of services to mainly watching YouTube and Twitch. I had a hard time wrapping my head around it as well. But I think it comes from a couple things. I think number one, it comes from everybody all our lives telling us, oh, you'll never make money playing video games. And then boom, all of a sudden here's people making money playing video games. Well, that thing that was injected into our minds as a little bit, the younger generation now, 16, 18-year-olds, even maybe up to like 21, to them, it's just like, oh, you could become popular on the internet and make money. To us, we were so beaten in that was never going to be a career option because at the time it wasn't. That it's still hard when we try to think of it as being a career option, if that makes sense, I think.
Right.
But again, it was a hard shift for me, and it really didn't come down to the point where it came to me is when I heard another content creator talking about it, and they're like, well, yeah, I used to pay $100 a month for cable. I don't watch cable anymore, and I don't pay $100 there anymore. This person now gets my watch time. Like, why wouldn't I? Like, I paid for cable, no problem, to watch what I liked watching. Why wouldn't I pay to, someone else that's giving me more hours of content than what I'd get from one single show on a cable show or something every week, an hour every week of a show versus someone that I'm watching 20, 30 hours a week. consuming their content for free. Why wouldn't I give them a $5 sub? And I don't know. That was just kind of, for me, that was the moment for me where it was like, oh, makes sense. And then, I just became sub.
I mean, the way you just explained that to me, makes a lot of sense. Like the way you stated that. Yeah. It's still kind of sort of the same thing. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like you're still enjoying something, whether you're watching a TV show that somebody's willing to pay $50 a month for, you know what I mean? Versus like you said, spending however many days or hours, watching a person that's creating content that's still giving them enjoyment. So, I mean, at the same time, like, yeah, why wouldn't you? Yeah. I mean, when you look at it that way, it's a no brainer.
Yeah. No, I mean, obviously, and I think any content creator or any decent human, like I've seen in plenty of even, there's a couple mid-tier streamers I watch that, let's say they run around 1,000 viewers on their live stream. And I'll see, every once in a while a subscriber will come back and they're like, hey man, sorry I wasn't able to subscribe the last 2 months, money got tight. And I've never seen a streamer like, oh my God, which, I mean, I know most wouldn't in public anyways, but still, I think they mean it. Most people, like, they get it when times are tough and you can't sub or something. But, I think, I don't know. Like I said, yeah, just when they said it like that, it made sense to me. And that was the click I needed. I was like, oh yeah, I don't have cable anymore. And I used to pay $100 a month for that shit. Like, that's $100 a month that I could allocate towards content creators that I'm actually enjoying and actually watching on a regular basis. And again,
well, and it kind of goes, and then just to bring this full circle back to, your statement on the last podcast that I was on is, at the end of the day, you are investing that money, into something that you support. Do you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like, or that you believe in, you know what I mean? So, if, you see another content creator, whether they're small or big or whatever, you know what I mean? And you enjoy their content and you believe in that person, you know what I'm saying? Like, then why would you feel bad, about giving them some sort of, money or, compensation or whatever, because you're basically, investing in something that you believe in. I mean, it's pretty smart way of looking at it, I guess.
Yeah, and I mean, and it also just kind of like, how can you, to me it became like, how could, which I wasn't streaming at the time, but I'm saying even then my thought, I'd mess around with it a little bit, but it's like, if I ever did this, I would want people to, I guess I would say, as I became more of an artist in life with photography, with live streaming, trying to make entertainment content, it's just like, how can I expect this industry to support me if I don't support the industry? Type thing. Again, I understand everybody has builds. Obviously, you can't throw all the money you have into the entertainment industry or whatever, but still to be wanting something that you're not invested into the market that you're trying to enter just doesn't seem to make sense to me personally. But again, like I said, I say all that to say, like, in the beginning, I was very much like you. It was just like, why would I, it was like a selfish thing. Just like, why would I pay money to somebody playing a video game? And I'm like, well, I wish somebody would do that for me.
Well, exactly. And like I said, and that to me was like the hardest or realest thing, you know what I mean? To accept, I mean, I know that sounds crazy, but like, that was literally like, one of the hardest things for me to accept. Like, when I first started creating content, like I would, I'm creating content, like you said, right, with the expectation that, somebody would be willing, or somebody's going to be willing to, drop money. Not that was my sole, I mean, like, the only thing, but I'm saying, but, how, like you said, how would I expect that? You know what I mean? And then, like, not be willing to do the same, for somebody else, that's in the same boat that I am, that I enjoy their content. You know what I mean? Like, it's the same thing with, actors, you go to a play, right? Like, even back in the day when they were doing street performers, you know what I mean? They're putting on a show for you. If you enjoy the show, then that's why they all, that's why they had the dono box there. You know what I mean? The concept's still the exact same, otherwise they're performing for free. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, it's, yeah, I don't know. It's weird. When you look at it that way, then it makes a lot more sense,
Yeah,
but,
and like I said, I think with us being a little bit older than kind of the crowd that's mainly on these platforms, the platform's definitely skewed younger crowd, 100%.
Oh yeah,
and I would say, being in that, again, it's just that we weren't taught to have a respect for the arts as much, I would say. For people's like we didn't see it like you just said, like they're still spending time on it. We didn't see it as spending time on something that was worthy to be spending time on, I guess.
Well, yeah,
Whereas
and we
now
both we
we
both
more
came
do.
right. We both came from like hardcore conservative, you know,
Yeah,
like
yeah, yep.
you know what I mean, parents too. You know what I mean, you know, where like you said, you know, you're drilled from the time that you're a kid. You know what I mean, you know, you're drilled that video games, you know what I mean, or a little kids thing. You know what I mean, you know that you're never gonna make a career out of or make money out of playing video games. I will remember the first time I told my dad that I wanted to be an artist. And he literally laughed at me. You know what I mean? Like my hardcore conservative dad. I was like, nah, dude, I enjoy this. I'm gonna swap up my classes at, in my high school. I'm gonna take every art class that I can, and do all this stuff, and my dad on the other hand was like, fuck no. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He was very much like, no, you're not. Like, you're gonna be 15, in the next couple of months. You're gonna go, get a worker's permit. I'm gonna pick you up at 4 o'clock every day at school, and you're gonna go work a part-time job. Do you know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, okay, and then but you said, that's how we were raised. I was raised in that mindset, that you graduate, whether you go to college or whatever you do, you don't major in something, it's different nowadays. You know what I mean? Like, when I went to college, I was told, you know what I mean? Like, and basically beaten into me, you know what I mean? That you go to college, you major in something that you can make money in. You know what I mean? Not something,
Yep.
Not something that you are, super passionate about, that you might not ever make, you might be broke your entire life, right? Or there might be a massive, like chance that you could be famous as an artist type of mindset. That was never an option. It was like, no, you're going to go to college to be a doctor, a business person. You're going to, something that you can utilize when you get out to make money. If you're not making money in it, you're not going to school for the arts. You know what I'm saying? Which I think is crazy, because that's completely different, than the truth. You know what I mean? And that's far from the truth. Now that I'm older and I see that, you know what I mean? I understand that concept. But yeah, when I was younger, dude, that was not an option.
Well, and I don't think it, came out of I think it comes from a good place, because there is definitely, to me, like, just trying to be realistic, even though now, like, I'm very much into kind of the art world in a sense, by making entertainment content, creating videos, which I consider to be an art form and all that. Even entertainment is an art form in itself, by photography, things like that. I will still say, I get why most parents don't want their kids to pursue it. Like, it's not easy by any means. It's not, and it's probably unlikely for most people. Like, there's just, like, we need construction workers. We need garbage men. We need bricklayers. We need this. We need that. Like, we need doctors. We need lawyers. And it just seems like, definitely the amount of people, especially like in today, 2020, 11, 22 or 2020, you ask like any kid growing up what they want to be when they get older, and their answer is like a content creator. Like, there's just like, everybody can't be that. So that just means there's more and more competition. So it's definitely, I think, I don't know, it's hard. Like, if let's say your kid, I know your kid's a baby, and I know this is going to take some, kind of putting yourself in the shoes of another person. Right. But let's say your kid's 16, 17 today, and he comes to you and says, I'm going to be a famous Twitch streamer. That's what I want to pursue. Like, what do you tell him as a dad?
See, and that's where,
and I know the right answer, like, yeah, kid, go, yeah, you can do it. You can do anything.
Well, but
you
see,
can.
Yeah, but
99% of streamers out there aren't making a penny.
Right. And you're right. But here's the thing. Like,
all right, Ryan, have a good night, my friend.
See, it's hard though, because I feel like after I've pursued, you know what I mean? Like, doing content creation, like on the side, like finally, made that step. I don't know, man. Like, I feel like my thought process would change. Like, I don't think that I would be so standoffish with it. You know what I mean? Like, obviously I still think that I would make, my kid get like a part-time job or something. Do you know what I mean? At least until he can slowly grow his channel. But like, I almost feel like I would go the opposite route. Like, I feel like I would almost boost that, creativity side, on wanting to do a Twitch stream, and like, aid him in that process. You know what I mean? Like, meaning like, trying to help him set up his stream, you know what I mean? Trying to learn, enough about almost like the same way that parents are driven behind like their kid in sports. You know what I mean? Like I feel like that's how I would treat it. You know what I mean? I would treat it as in like a, okay, you know, you want to stream, you mean, you know, well, you know, we got to come up with a, you know, schedule, you know what I mean? You know, you got to be consistent, you know, we got to make sure that, you know, you get on the stream, you know, and you're doing this stuff, you know, and you're enjoying it, you know what I mean? And I think like I would basically change, like I said, I would treat it like a sports thing, you know, instead of, you know, making him practice and do sports stuff, you know what I mean? I would try to make sure that he has the time, you know, to spend on, you know, trying to make it on the Twitch platform. Now, again, this is, I mean, you know, it'd have to be a serious thing, you know what I mean? I'm not talking about a, oh, I don't know, I think I just want to do this. I like playing this, you know, this Batman game. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think like it would have to be more of like a, you know, well, is this really what you want to do? You know what I mean? This is kind of what it, you know, entails, you know, that kind of stuff, you know, and I wouldn't really force him to play anything, you know, they didn't want to play, of course, you know, but I don't know. I feel like my opinion would change a little bit. Now, if you would have asked me prior to me making content creation, then I definitely feel like, you know.
Well, and that's what I was going to say. You do got to remember most parents are not content creators.
Right.
So, and I would even, just to play the devil's advocate, again, not that I don't, I mean, because I agree with most of what you're saying. I feel I would be the same with my kids. I do feel I'd be that parent that's like, yeah, pursue, like, follow your dream. I mean, I'm that guy with all of you guys. Like, everybody in my stream, I'm like, you can fucking do it. Go for it. Just start. Go. You can do, like, that's just me.
Right.
But at the same time, like, what was I going to say? Man, it's slipping my mind now. But I was going to say, okay, so even though you say it like you're saying, it's slipping my mind. Come back, baby, come back. What was I was gonna play devil's advocate on
just
one
retract,
thing you said
just retract your steps, see if it'll come back.
Maybe it will in a second. But anyways, while hopefully that pops back in my brain, just my overall point was like, I think that's the right thing to say. That's what we would all say in 2020. Like, that's the politically correct thing. But I do just think it's a lot harder than we think, because I mean, you know, like, okay, here's what I was gonna say. Like, do you think, now that you've done this, do you think it takes something special to be able to do this? And I don't mean to be able to do this as in make content creation, but I mean to actually have that entrepreneur spirit where you actually do go for it. Do you think anybody and everybody can have that?
No.
Like, you're saying, like, yeah, I would say go for it because I see what I've did, but could you be built different? Because, like, and I don't mean this like in a negative, like, if anybody's watching and feels like, but I just, like, I look at most people, and I'll tell you, here's my biggest thing in life. And I say this to my wife all the time, and we've had conversations about this. Most people say they want stuff, but they don't, like, I don't know why. Like, and I used to be the same, and I don't know exactly what changed, but then they don't take any actual steps towards doing it. I don't know if it's a fear. I don't know what exactly it is. But, like, even like we talk about, like, on our normal jobs, like, you're like, I see this way better method of doing it, but people are like, it's fine. It is what it is. And I feel that's how most people, like, that's why I really do believe, like, if you actually go for becoming a popular, like, I'm nothing special as a content creator. Like, boom, I said it. Some of y'all love me, and you're going to be like Prince would be like, no, you are special. You're your own special. What I'm saying is, anybody could do what I'm doing. Anybody could produce 3 videos a week. Anybody could produce a podcast a week. Anybody could stream 3 days a week. Like, I'm not doing anything special. The difference between, like, me and another content creator, or the difference between you, Codations, and another content creator, is that we actually do it. Like, whether we want to do it, whether we get tired of it, whether, like, we're fully committed to it. There's no plan B. At least that's how I feel. Maybe you feel different, but, like, there's no plan B. This is it. Like, and I just don't feel like most people actually have that. So then, like, when people say, like, to me, oh, you know, anybody can follow their dreams. Like, yeah, anybody could, but the problem is the majority won't actually, I guess, for lack of a better word, I hate saying this, but they won't put in the work to do it when it comes down to it. You know what I'm saying? Or do you get what I'm trying to say about it?
Yeah. Yep. Nope.
And actually, give me 1 second. I gotta piss like a racehorse. I gotta do it. I was trying not to because it's a podcast. Igor says, but you're special. I mean, I think I'm special too, but you get what I was saying, Igor. All right, give me 1 second. BRB.
Igor, were you saying special ed? I couldn't tell. Oh, man. Let me pull the stream up here on the side so I can see it on my other screen. But you're special. Princess! Are you still here? Or did you leave? only visible to you. Oh, never mind. This is that thing. Guys, while D is gone, I totally been saving up all of my my channel points here. I'm trying to get to 1 million so I can get him to take his shirt off on stream. He told me this like 10 streams ago, but he never put it in the option to buy it. So I've been hoarding them up. We're at 7,600. Almost there.
All right, sorry, I'm back. But just one last thing to add, since I was still thinking while I was peeing. Are you still in here, Codations?
Yep.
Okay, just make sure you're still back here.
I was talking trash behind your back, and you won't ever know what it was.
Except for I upload this to YouTube after, and I can review.
Oh, damn it.
I mean, these go on Apple Podcasts and everywhere. No, but what I was gonna say, just the last thing point, like it's not like, you know, because like everybody's like, oh, but you're unique, you're, you know, that's why you're special, like you're a unique person. Yeah, but that's like really that makes you special. You're a unique person, but that's also what makes everybody special, and that they're a unique person. So really it doesn't. Like really, if I had to say anything that was my superpower, and actually, you know, because I believe like I will make a living doing content. Like I've no doubt where I'm at in my life, where I'm at with my content, I have no, like, you know, no fears that won't happen for me if I just keep chugging along the way, you know, chugging along the way I'm going. But I really think like the only difference that separates me from 99% of other content creators that try to do this is just the I decided to just outwork everybody and just do it. Whether I felt like doing it, whether I woke up and I didn't feel like doing it, whether one week I just couldn't think of a video idea, like I didn't care. There was no more excuses. There was no more. I just did it. If I couldn't think of a video idea, I made a video anyways, and if it sucked, then it sucked. Like it was just that I decided to just fucking like do it. And that's literally, I think, the superpower that I look and I see that most people just don't have, is they just can't get to that point where they just fucking do it. All right, anyways, now, so does that, like I was saying before I had to go pee, so does that make sense what I'm saying? Like, what are your thoughts on what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, my opinion is along the same lines. I do have a couple things to add to that, but I mean, I personally believe that
Igor, tell me later what he was talking about behind my back.
No, you'll just have to watch the stream again. You'll have to get to 1 hour and 51 minutes.
Oh, I'll make a note of that right now. Thanks for reminding me. Write that down, 1 hour, 51 minutes.
But you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, it's it's such a hard topic, because the truth is and now again, I'm a firm believer like on this, because I don't know, I've kind of seen both ends of the spectrum, and I've seen both ends play out for people. Do I think that the long thing, you know, the long idea of the American dream, right? Like, you know, exists, right? Where you can do anything and everything you want in this world. You mean, you know, and you can achieve anything and everything, right? I agree with that thought process and that mentality, but only to a certain extent. And what I mean by that is I feel like not only, right, like you said, you know, people just don't take action, right? Or don't pursue it. You know, they say they want it, but do they really want it? Because they don't put forth all of the work and, you know, the effort that it takes to achieve it, you know, whatever it is, or whatever the reason why they give up. But I'm adding to the fact that I also think that there is limitations. Do you know what I mean? You know, and I don't mean limitations as in like, you know, like physical, like, no, you can't do this. But I'm saying, but like, for instance, like let's take a simple job like a salesperson, right? Like let's say a car salesman.
Okay.
Can anybody be a car salesman? Yeah, they technically could, right? I mean, you could go to college, right? You can learn, you know, what you can learn about business or learn about sales. But at the end of the day, right? Like the top-notch successful, you know, like real or like a successful car salesman, there is way more that goes into it than just knowing about cars and selling cars. Do you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like, you know, you have to have, you know, like that drive, that personality. You know what I mean? Like, you know, like there's a certain persona, you mean, you know, that fits with that, you know, mentality. I mean, you know, I mean, I've never bought a car, you know what I mean, from a person who, you know, didn't have that. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, and I think that's the same thing with every single profession, right? Or everything you want to achieve in life. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't think that everybody's born tomorrow. You know what I mean? You know, and they make it to college and they just become artists because they try really hard, at skills of being an artist. I think there's just sometimes, people have that, that little bit of finesse, not everybody's a Vincent Van Gogh. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that there's sometimes more deep down inside. I'm not saying that, a person who tries their best to be the best pitcher in baseball, to become famous, to, can't achieve it. Clearly they can. Do you know what I mean? But like, I think there's sometimes more than just meets the eye. I think there's more than what a person can buy. You know what I mean? You can't just buy happiness on every level. But then again, some people would argue with that. Some people think like, well, if, I could, if I could afford everything in the world that I wanted, and I could pay people to love me, and I could, buy everything, I would be the happiest person in the world. But at the end of the day, that's, that there's something more to it. In my opinion, I don't know. And that's kind of the way I feel with like any profession, any skill. I love playing video games. Do I think that I could be a top, number one competitive video gamer? No, I don't, because I don't think I have that drive, and I don't think that I have that skill level, you know what I mean? Or that, that, I don't know. It's hard to explain, but at the same time, my passion, my content creation, it works well for me. And I think I've grown to the point that I have, not just based on luck, but also because of my personality. You know what I mean? I have the ability, to relate to anybody, to talk to an open room, you know what I mean? And I've always had that. I've been told that for years, since I was a kid. You know what I mean? My dad, my conservative dad, hardcore, told me to go into sales. You know what I mean? You could sell ice to an Eskimo kid. You know what I mean? You talk to anybody, you know what I mean? Type of mentality, but I don't want to do that. You know what I mean? Like, that's not what I want to do. So,
Yeah.
I've kind of, I don't know. I mean, it's kind of all over the place, man. And I think, I don't know. I mean, back to the original question on the content creation thing, I would agree with you. I mean, it's not for everybody, right? Like, I feel like if my kid wanted to be a content creator, right, maybe he doesn't have that drive or that, hardcore, like you said, that drive would, I guess, would be the best word, but like, or that motivation, or that, like hard ethical, like work behind it. And if that's the case, do you know what I mean? Then yeah, then he probably wouldn't make it, and he'd probably waste time, or whatever, that he could be doing something else to make money or something else. But at the same time, like, I don't know, man, like as I've gotten older, I've kind of shifted my thought process into more of a freedom thought. Does that make sense? Like, I mean, it's a weird process, dude, because like I was raised in a conservative home, you know what I mean, very, very driven behind, hard work. I mean, earns money, you earn money to pay bills, you know what I mean, the rest of it you store away, you know what I mean, no wasting money, mindset. You know what I'm saying? Like, like I was raised that way, so I've lived my entire life that way. But then I've got a lot of friends, you know what I mean, that in my opinion have been able to do a lot more things, but they don't have what I have. Does that make sense? Like, I've got friends that don't have a house, you know what I mean? They don't have any money, by the time their paycheck comes around, they're empty on money. You know what I'm saying? But yet they've had experiences. Does that make sense? They've got to enjoy things, of their nature in that sense. When then in my nature, I've always been planning. You know what I mean? You mean I've built what I have based on that. So I don't know. I mean, I know it's a long-winded question, and it's kind of all over the place with open endings, but
I was gonna say, I hear everything you're saying. I was gonna say it's kind of hard for me though to, if I'm being honest, I'm not sure I quite understand what side you fall on then, because you kind of jumping back and forth between both sides.
Right. No, and that's what I'm trying to get out from the very beginning. Is I am all over the place. Like. I'm stuck, because I do agree with you. I feel like not everybody has the knack for it. Not everybody's going to put in the work and what.
Well, I guess let me ask this. Let me ask a couple questions, just because maybe it'll help me. Because I mean, I'm partially there too. Well, let me make a first couple statements, because I know like me and Blazin would talk about this quite a bit when he was in the streams, this kind of stuff. And I've always kind of been the person that I'm kind of, I don't even know if this is the right word. I'm going to use a big word trying to sound smart. Vehemently, kind of like hard work. And it doesn't mean that I don't think like, luck exists, or that there is just some, like, it's not all about the hard work. I guess what I'm saying, like, do some people get lucky and they become successful and they really didn't do the work? Yes, that happens. But I don't think that side of it negates the hard work side of it. I think I think you could also get there with hard work. And I guess I'm saying I believe anyone can get there with hard work. If they're willing to, like, maybe they're not blessed with all that stuff that you're talking about. But for example, have you ever heard of Dale Carnegie?
I've heard the name.
He is a huge, he was, I mean, he's dead now. He's like early 1900s was a huge motivational speaker.
Okay.
His whole philosophy, all of his books, he's a best-selling artist. I mean, of all time, best-selling artist. Has sold some of the most books out of anyone outside of like the Bible. But his whole thing is that, like, even things like you're saying, like, I've always had that personality. Like, yeah, you're gifted in some areas. You definitely have that. But his whole thing was you could learn to have that personality. His whole thing was he learned to have that personality. His whole success thing is built around the fact that he wasn't that person and he became that person in terms of personality, in terms of a salesman, in terms of and there's a lot of business people that quote him, people like presidents like Bill Clinton, I believe is one, Bill Gates and stuff, that talk about how his books taught them. Like, Bill Gates was a geek that just knew computers, and his books taught them how to become that personable person. So he says, really, these things that you think like, yeah, they're a blessing, you know, that you got this skill and that some people get this skill. He's saying, yeah, maybe they naturally get that skill, but just like any other skill, personalities can be learned just like anything else. Just like, you know, and again, I'm not saying that that's true or not. I don't know. I mean, I was kind of I've always had the type of personality you have. I've always been very outgoing. I've always easily made friends with people. I've always been willing to get people's attention, you know, whether it was running around at church, at my dad's church, and getting, you know, people to like me there, paying attention to me, or just whatever, girls, you know, growing up. Like, I've never had problem getting people's attention. It's come pretty natural to me. You know, so I get it. I do think, like, yeah, that's lucky for me. Somebody that's going into content creation, it's lucky if they have a personality that fits that niche. But I still believe hard work can get you there if you don't have that by default. And that's just where I'm always in. It's like, yes, I believe there's like things that you're blessed with that other people might not be blessed with. But, and to counter that, like, to also add in one part, like, we say these things, and I get it. Like, I get both sides of it. Like, there's people like, oh, you know, people are just successful based on luck. People are just successful from hard work. I think it's probably a combination of both. But again, I just think that with hard work, like, hard work helps you produce good luck. Because, like, you're saying, like, oh, I have this super outgoing personality, so that's going to help me be a success. That's like the dream thing to become a successful content creator. Okay, but how do you explain It's Hafu, who is a Twitch streamer, a chick, you know, a girl, a woman, I don't know the political correct term to use, a woman content creator who has a pretty dull person. Like, most of her streams, she plays a lot of chess and stuff. She's not a real outgoing person. She's not jumping around screaming. She's not like us getting excited in a game. She's just sitting there talking to people and playing some chess or something, or chess like games. Like, you don't need to have that type of personality. There's plenty of people that are successful. Then you say, oh, but if you have good looks, you're lucky and you can be successful. Okay, let's name some of the biggest content creators on Twitch. Asmongold. Who here, like, and I'm not but who here is going to raise their hand and say, wow, he's a super good looking guy? Tim the Tap Man. Like, who's here going to raise their hand and be like, oh my God, that's one of the hottest human beings alive? Like, Joe Rogan, like, probably the biggest content creator of our time right now with his podcast, signs 100. Who here is sitting here saying, like, Joe Rogan's the hottest guy on the planet? Like what? Like, I get what people say, but then when you look at the data, like, you don't see that stuff giving people as much of a, you know, edge as you think it's giving them. Like, if I just look at the data, like, are there some thoughts on Twitch that make money just because they're hot girls? Sure, but, like, they're not doing the big stuff. I mean, they're not the ones, you know, with millions and millions. Like, if you have both, does it help? Like, sure, I'm sure it does. Like, I'm not saying it doesn't. Like, being good looking, I'm sure helps. Like, 100%. But so does having a good personality. So does being good at a video game. Like, there's lots of things that can help. And maybe you're not good looking based off nature, but you could put in hard work and become the best League of Legends player. If you're putting in hours and hours and hours every single day, studying and reading all the different items and how they interact and studying, like if you love something that much and you put in that time, like I just think you can succeed in another way and in a hardworking way. Does that make like, so that's like my rationale behind it.
It's hard because I do agree with that. I mean, like, it's hard to argue with that statement. I mean, yeah, you're right. I mean, if I wanted to be,
by the way, real quick, Princess says when you were talking, she was agreeing with you. She said, that's true. Codations, you must dream. Then she said interesting, but I don't know what she said the interesting to.
So
go ahead.
So I mean, like I said, it's hard because when you put it that way, yeah, it's hard to argue with, and it makes a lot of sense, right? I mean, if I wanted to be good at League of Legends, right? Like, I could pick up League of Legends and I could continue to play League of Legends and grind out League of Legends. But I think I guess where I was trying to go with my all over the placeness answer last time is, or no, actually, I'm gonna pause this. I'll go back to your statement about Blazin.
Mm-hmm.
Do I believe in luck? The answer, I don't know if it's necessarily luck, you know what I mean, as more of as, I mean, that would be the only answer. Do I think people do have sometimes get thrown into something or stumble upon something, whether it's fortune or whether it's, misfortune, whatever it is, like I do feel like that happens.
Let's call it a better starting line.
There you go.
That's where I'm more like, I don't like the word luck, but I don't disagree that some people start off on a better starting line than other people.
Right. And to give you an example, going back to that story, remember that I was trying to get out forever ago about a buddy of mine with Bitcoin stuff. It's not Bitcoin related, but it's stocks related. And the one thing that, back in the day in high school, I had a buddy, right? And his name was Connor. And his parents were what I would consider rich, right? I mean, he never had to pay for anything out of his pocket. He didn't have a job, like at all. He pretty much got, all the extra shit at lunch. You know what I mean? He always had really nice clothes. They always took like several family vacations. Again, at the time I was a kid, and I was poor, so he could have been middle class. I don't know, but nevertheless, what happened is so they bought him his first car at 16, and I remember this, and I thought it was the craziest decision. They bought him a car at 16, and for his 18th birthday, he decided to literally, we were graduating high school. And as we were walking out of the high school for one of our last days of the year, move on with our lives, he explained to me that he sold his vehicle, the free car that his parents gave him, and he sold it. And I remember at the time it was like a Chrysler 300, right? Like it was some ridiculously like not a beater, first car, right? Like mine was. His was literally a Chrysler 300, and he sold the sucker, and then he took all of that money and he invested it in stocks, right? And I don't know where the direction came from. I don't know if he took it upon himself or what it was, but within a year, he had sold some of that stocks and had produced a crap ton of money for himself. Like, didn't go to college, didn't do nothing, and then slowly started building from there. And then now the guy owns like 5 companies. You know what I mean? Never went to college. You know what I mean? Like just a successful, all around successful person, right?
Yeah.
So one would argue, right, in that case, that a person in my situation compared to his situation, I didn't have that car. You mean to be able to sell to invest that amount of money. You mean, like starting off, right? Mm-hmm. But but I've had plenty of opportune time in my life since then. That I could have invested money, into stocks, and potentially had that same, type of situation. You know what I mean? So, I guess some people get sour. I can't say anything about Blazin because I don't really know the guy or knew him that much or what his thought process was. But some people, do get sour in the fact by thinking that, if his parents didn't have a lot of money, to buy him that car, to do that, he wouldn't be where he was at today. You know what I mean? And I disagree with that. I disagree with that statement because I do feel like, that just because they gave him that a little bit of extra at the beginning, sure, it gave him a boost. You know what I mean? But who's not to say, that he wouldn't have got a job or, made money on his own somehow, and then invested into stocks later on and still became famous. I mean, you hear both sides of the coin. You know what I mean? You hear people who have nothing, and amount to something. What was it? Bill Gates? I think it was Bill Gates. It was either Bill Gates or Apple. I can't remember who it was. I was working out in a garage. They had no money. They were building computers out of a garage.
Yeah, and I mean, there's definitely and that's yes, exactly. That's kind of my again, I agree that people start on different areas of the starting line. Some people start further ahead, but you hear just as many horror stories of people that have a lot of money and then their kids amount to nothing because they become spoiled rich kids.
Correct.
And you hear tons of stories that I again, and I'm not fact checking it right now, but just going off the top of my head, I remember reading a book called The Millionaire Next Door, and it was the whole book was about statistics on millionaires. How do they spend their money? What kind of cars do they drive? Where do they come from? Did they come from family with a bunch of money? And almost all the data in that book, if I remember correctly, going off the top of my head, showed that most millionaires came from nothing. They did not have millionaire family. They did not they basically started their own business. They basically grinded, became millionaires. Most millionaire money was not inherited, but was they were what's it called? First generation millionaires. Was what was the word the book used, meaning that they were self-made. They actually said most kids that came from millionaires turned out to be the exact opposite and would live a life filled with a lot of drugs, a lot of wasting money. They might be supported by their parents throughout their entire lives because of the money their parents made, but the wealth pretty much dies within that next generation. Again, that doesn't mean there's not exceptions to that rules, but I think it's like you said. That's what I'm saying. Yes, I agree that people start on a better starting line, but I also still believe that even if you start on a non-awesome starting line, that hard work can get you to a hell of a lot more places than just that luck would have ever gotten you to by itself. I can't disagree with that. I mean, I think, like I said, especially, hard work, does pay off. I mean, it's been proven numerous times, that, you can do that. But I mean, again, do I feel like that luck does exist everywhere else besides the starting point? Yeah. I mean, think about people who put in a shit ton of work, right? Maybe to get to where they were, but maybe something came along, that did play out for them, way easier. Do you mean, to another person who's putting in a lot of work? Do you know what I mean? Which then gave them a boost or an edge. I mean, to then continue to push further even more, with hard work. So, I mean, I don't know. I think it's all over the place when it comes to what people believe in when it comes to actual luck or, people with hard work and who is more successful. But I mean, I do agree with you on the fact that there's, more successful people out there, that are first generation. And I would agree with you. I know personal stories as well, with people especially a guy from my high school who came from wealth, super wealthy family. Both of his parents ended up, it's unfortunate, I don't mean to laugh about it, but both of his parents ended up dying. I'm going to say when he was 21, you know what I mean? And he was super wealthy, but with that wealth, as a kid, he was a D-bag. You know what I mean? I hate to say that. But he was. He was a dick, to everybody in school. He was that jock. That picked on people all the time. Just wasn't a really good person. You know what I mean? And like I said, his family was super rich. When they died, they had a crap ton of money. That he got I don't know if it was savings accounts, probably a mixture of both. And then off of the life insurance, whatever. And Right.
he got a crap ton of money. Well, I mean, I don't want to put him on blast, but basically, what ended up happening is he turned to drugs. He had, he didn't have his parents anymore. You know what I mean? He was an only child. He turned into drugs. He blew basically all of that money. The rumor has it. Again, I don't know him personally on a level that we talk that we talk, so I can't really vouch for it. But I mean, I've heard through other people that we knew each other and that were friends with him and stuff at the time, that he blew all of that money, bought several houses, bought a lot of vehicles, basically played, MTV Cribs, way of spending his parents, life earnings, you know what I mean? And then, boom, trouble with the law, like I said, drugs. And now he, does nothing, You know what I'm saying? I mean, didn't finish out college, dropped out of college because he got all that money. You know what I mean? Doesn't own any businesses, that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? In my opinion, wasn't smart with it. But some people back in the day, I remember, were super envious over him. You know what I mean? They wanted everything he had. I mean, they're like, I just wish I was, this person, you know what I mean? And everything he's got, and he's only where he's at, and he's favored because of his family and, all this stuff. And then you see something like this happen to them. And then, in my opinion, it should make you humble. You know what I mean? It should instantly be like a reminder, you know what I mean? Like, hey, it's not always greener. You know what I mean? You've got, I've got a loving family. You know what I mean? I've got all my bills paid. I've got money that I've saved up in the bank. If something was to happen, that we would be okay. You know what I mean? And I sometimes have to be checked, Well, even with my content stuff, I mean, I always talk about this, you know what I mean? Sometimes I'm always thinking, man, I really wish, I could be big tomorrow. I see an account, or somebody blow up, overnight, you know what I mean? On a new game, and they or somebody raids them, on Twitch, and it blows up their channel, or somebody big, mentions a content creator, and I've done it numerous times. I'm guilty of it. I think about it and I'm like, dude, that'd be so freaking sweet. Why can't that ever happen to me type of mentality, And then all of a sudden, then I get reminded somehow, something happens or whatever. And I get reminded and I'm like, oh shit, maybe I just need to be happy with what I have. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Well, and I think, I mean, again, I think it's way more complicated than either side gives it credit for. But I also like the whole time I'm listening to you talk, the thing that's popping in my mind is I also think like, part of the problem, I think, of why people think sometimes it's all about luck is I think they're also only thinking in success in terms of money. When I'm thinking about it a lot, it's like, am I doing something I love? And I just think like, cause if you're thinking of just luck, like, and again, I'm thinking like, does luck exist? Like the thing that popped in my mind was like, someone could, like, I could be doing all this stuff tomorrow. I could, for whatever reason, get hosted by someone, blow up, kind of like what you're talking about, and boom, I'm making a living from this. And then the next day I could get cancer and die in 6 months. Like, and your first reaction would be like, oh, totally unlucky. But I guess like my thought, like, but it's like, it's not unlucky. Like anybody could get cancer and die in 6 months. Like it's not unlucky. I chased what I wanted to chase. I did what I wanted to did. Like, it's more like it's like, I'm not measuring it by I'm measuring it by like, am I enjoying what I'm doing? Am I happy doing what I'm doing? And if I am, like, I already won. I guess that's why I don't a lot of times get caught up in that. Again, not that like I'd be lying if I didn't say I didn't ever think about growing or becoming bigger or having this can be completely self-sufficient. But it's like, if I tomorrow, put in all this hard work, I guess that's why I'm a fan of hard work, because it's like, if I put in all this hard work and I got unlucky, am I then going to be laying on my deathbed thinking like, damn, I worked so hard, I feel so shitty about myself because I worked so hard? Probably not. I'll be like, man, I really went for my dreams. Like, life's unpredictable. I didn't leave it based on luck. Instead, I handled it in the areas that I could handle it in, and you know what? I did my best. I'm happy to go out of this world. You know what I mean? Like almost like
Yeah. Now let me ask you one question, just because I'm curious. So back to that point, right? That mindset or that statement that you just said. If let's just say that's true, right? Let's say you put in all this time, right? All this effort, all this hard work into being a content, trying to make a content creation, your living. My question is what happens if that was the case? What is your take on that? Something happens to you in the future, you end up, or you're on your deathbed. Let's say you didn't make it to that point. You did enjoy yourself along the way, right? You enjoyed trying to chase your dream, right? My question is do you regret chasing it because you could have spent that time with your loved ones or your family or somewhere else? Do you know what I mean? That you feel like would have left a bigger mark on the world, when you leave, versus you trying to chase that dream out of curiosity?
No.
Gotcha.
Because as much as I preach selflessness, and as much as I preach loving other people, and as much as I preach trying to help other people, the truth of the matter is, before any of that, I'm very much selfish. and that I'm very much like, I've learned in life that if I'm not happy, if I don't deal with my selfish stuff first, then I can't give that selfishness or selflessness to anybody else, if that makes sense.
Right.
If I'm not taking care of what I need to take care of for me to be happy in this life, then I can't give anything to anybody else. Like, I'm a workaholic. Like, that's not a good thing. I don't wish most people to be workaholics. Like, I don't wish most people, like, if you could be happy going to a job and working 30 hours a week and making enough money to live on, and then you can spend all the rest of your time with your family, like, that's probably the better option in life. Like, I don't wish what I have on anybody. Like, I'm not sitting here saying, that everybody should be out working as hard as they possibly fucking can be. But what I'm talking about is the type of people, or what we're talking about really is the type of people that's saying they're unhappy with where they're currently at in life. They're saying, I'm doing this, but I wish I could be doing this. I'm working a job doing design for a company that like, I love doing design work. Yeah, I love art. I love design, but I hate working for this company. I want to be doing my own thing. We're talking about, though, like, when we're a subset of the human race. We're most people are pretty content with going to their date. Like, Wolf, for example, he freely says it himself. Like, he's happy to just go work his job, put in his 40 hours and come home and have his, like, he's taken care of. His bills are taken care of. He doesn't got to worry about food, and he gets to come home and he gets to play video games. Like, if you're happy, that's what I'm saying. To me, it's not a money thing. Like, I mean, I had a job where I was like, the statistic, I believe, the research they done, they said once you're making over $75,000 a year, the correlation with wealth and happiness is this: up to $75,000 a year, your happiness goes up. Once you make $75,000 or more per year, your happiness no longer increases. Meaning, once you can pay the necessities in life, you've reached max happiness when it comes to money. That's what psychology says. Again, I'm not an expert. I've been to that point, and I would agree with that. Once I started making $75,000 a year, like, it no longer becomes about that. It becomes more of a game than anything else. It becomes more like a game, like Genshin Impact. You're just trying to collect as much as you can just to almost see how much you can collect. Like, it doesn't really, like, yeah, I mean, everybody, like, says, yeah, I'd love to have money to do this, this, and this. But the truth is, once most people get that money, they don't do this. Their life doesn't change too much. It just doesn't. In fact, a lot of times happiness starts to go back down the more and more money you make, most of the time. 75,000 is kind of, they say, where that peak is for happiness. And I guess I was bringing that up, or saying all that, just say, yeah, I just got to be me, dude. That's all I'm concerned with being. Like, if I'm not happy doing what I'm enjoying doing, then again, I go back to that, just that, how could I then expect to give what am I going to give? Misery to other people? Like, how can I give something I don't have? If I'm not happy, how can I then give happiness to someone else? So it's a very selfish desire at the beginning. But then again, it's kind of like what I was talking about on the last podcast, where it's like, I recognize that. Like, I'm conscious enough, woke enough, whatever the fuck word you want to use, in touch with God enough to realize that, like, literally we all have that. And so my desire is in that selfishness that I know I have, that this desire to be happy, to do what I want to do in life. I try to do good along the way. I try to use it to be a force of good, knowing that it's not, I guess, or I struggle with the fact that it's not, I guess, is more but again, I could just give into that and just be a shit person. But again, I try to make the best out of what I've been dealt with in life, and I have that personality or that desire to have my own thing, to build my own thing, not to build for somebody else or whatever. Again, I don't know. I don't know if that answers your question. I don't know if that makes sense, but again, so to me, it's not the success. Like, again, I'd be lying if I said that I didn't want to be successful in this, for this to be what makes my living. But at the same time, it's also true that I don't care if this makes money or not. In the sense that that's not what's bringing me my happiness. My happiness is brought on just by the fact, like, I want to be doing this, so I do it. And that's what I'm saying. I think people get tripped up, is they think like, oh, I can't stream because I'm not going to be good enough, or I'm not good looking enough. I'm not, like, you should stream just because you want to stream. You should be doing it simply because you can't not do it. Like to me, that's the more important thing. Like, are you going to continue being like, are you going to continue going to your dead end again? And I'm not saying this is everybody, but I'm saying those people, the people that come to me for this advice, are you going to continue going to your job that you hate every day and just not do anything and be miserable your whole life and not even take the chance, versus at least trying it, at least attempting it, and then if you do never make it, at the end of your life being like, you know what, at least I fucking tried. Like, at least I didn't just stay miserable in the job I was in, going every day wishing that I didn't, hating my life, hating my job, hating my whatever, Again, and I think people do that with their marriages and their kids and everything. It's like they feel like they got to be this, that's why I always make the joke on my stream, and Barb and Princess, they've been around long enough to know, like, I kind of make this running joke, like, I'm not trying to be number one dad. I'm happy being number two dad. Like right. I'm not out there trying to be, like, I see so many people, like, they're out there like, oh, I'm the best dad in the world, but secretly they resent their kids because they're not out doing something that they love to do, or secretly they resent their wife because they feel like she's holding, or she or he is holding them back because, they had all these big plans in life and now they can't do them because they got married or because they had kids, and so they just go through life pissed off and slowly dying inside and slowly, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I just don't want that. I'd rather be number two dad, because then I do this, I chase after what I chase. It takes time away from my family. My wife doesn't always love it. I'm sure my kids don't always love it, even though they can't express it as well because they're kids. But then at the end of the day, when I'm off here, I'm like, let me try to be the best. Like, I know I'm being selfish in that area, so I try to go the extreme with them as well, and I try to, like, be a really great dad to them because I know I'm not a perfect dad. Like does it make sense? Like, I feel like it like, when you accept that stuff, it actually is a superpower. It actually helps you in life. It actually
honestly
forces you to.
I think a way to sum it up that's really good is there's sacrifices on both ends. I mean, that's like probably the best way to say it, right? I mean,
right.
The truth is yeah, you know what I mean, you know that you can strive to be the best dad in the world, you know what I mean, but at what cost? You know what I mean? Are you going to be able to not do, all of the things, that you might want to do, that to give you satisfaction or to give you happiness in other areas? Do you know what I mean? Because you're trying to be, the best dad in the world, right? Or, you're wanting to be the best content creator, you know what I mean? And you want to be a successful content creator, it's going to require, it's going to require, some sacrifices, do you know what I mean? And like you just said, to you, that's being number two dad. You know what I mean? You're fine with being number two dad. You know what I mean? Because it's at the expense of, you gaining satisfaction or, happiness or whatever through, following or trying to do something that you want to achieve. I know people, like you said, I know people on both ends of that. I mean, the same way. I mean, I know people who do that. You know what I mean? Who they are in a marriage or they are in a relationship. You know what I mean? Where they have achieved so much in this relationship or done something else, but that person or one of those people aren't themselves. Do you know what I mean?
Let me interrupt just to point out what and just to add one thing, because what you're saying is perfect, and it's making. And it's not that I'm saying, because then you can say, oh, but kids are more important than a job. I would agree with that 100%. But I'm not actually, what I'm saying is you almost got to go down another layer, because it's not that you're actually saying I'm okay with being a number two dad. What you're really saying is I'm okay with not competing with any of the other dads out there. I'm not trying to live this perfect life of what society says I have to live. I'm trying to live a life that makes me happy, that makes my wife happy, that makes my kids happy. And like you said, I'm juggling all this, But what I'm saying when I say I'm okay with being a number 2 dad, or I'm okay with being a number 2 content creator, right? It's saying I'm not actually competing with anybody else. I'm only like it, and that's where I'm saying it's not the money that matters. It's this competition in myself that I enjoy. I enjoy trying to get better at a craft. I enjoy trying to see how far I can go when it comes to money. I enjoy seeing how far I can go when it comes to raising my kids. I enjoy seeing how great of a husband I can come. If that means I need to go to marriage counseling, like I have no issues doing that because it's not a personal hit to my ego. It's not oh, Mary and John over here don't need marriage counseling, but me and my wife do. There's never that thought. There's only, could this possibly make my marriage better? Yes, let's give it a try. Oh, it doesn't? Get rid of it. Like it's again, so I just want to clarify that. It's not that I'm saying I'm striving to be less of a good as dad as other people. No, I'm just trying to strive to be the best dad I can be. I'm trying to strive to be the best, content creator I can be. But again, I'm just saying that because I think sometimes people take what I'm saying as like, oh, he doesn't care about being a great father. He only cares about being a decent father. What I'm saying is I don't care to compare myself with other people. I don't care to compete
he just had
with
kids,
other
but
people.
doesn't want to tend to them.
Right. Prentice says, seems like life would be more stressful at that point, not financially stressful, but like I feel like you would be at the point where you realize money can't buy everything. Right. And I mean, I think that's what they're, she's referring to the 75. Ago. Yeah, she did. I realized when she pointed it. She posted it when I was talking about up to the 75,000. And yes, that's basically what the researchers concluded, that once the basic needs were met, it no longer became about the money, but became more about what do they want to do in life. What's the experience they want to have, and whether they were chasing that or not then would increase or decrease happiness. So 100%, Princess. Anyways, continue with what you were saying. I didn't mean to interrupt you there, but I just wanted to, because again, I always say that, but I never clarify that it's not actually about like, oh, okay, well, maybe what Derek's saying is I don't need to be the best dad in the world. I can be a subpar dad, and that's okay because I'm working really hard. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying, don't compete. It's not a competition. There is no number 1 dad. There is no number 2 dad. There is no just be the best dad you can be. Like if that's your goal, you're only going to get good stuff in life, in my opinion.
Right. And I get, and I would agree with that. You know what I mean? And like I said, and that kind of goes back to, like what I was saying with like the, the sacrifice thing. I don't mean that as in like you were saying, I don't mean it as in like, in order to be, the best person in the world, you're going to have to sacrifice all of this. Do you know what I mean? Like, no, I'm not saying that. It's sacrifice is in the term that sacrifice is, you know what I mean? It is, instead of having to spend all of your time, with your kids, or, do exactly what somebody else wants you to, be somebody that somebody wants you to be, you know what I mean? Like if you're going to take that route, then it's unfortunate, but there is sacrifices, you're going to have to end up making a decision later on, you know what I mean? That is either going to help you, do you know what I mean? Or you're going to have to make a hard decision the opposite direction, which might not help you in achieving the first goal you thought you wanted. You know what I mean? So you can achieve another goal. And that's, and I think that's the same thing with rich people, or not rich people, with, successful people, not successful. What the hell's the right term I'm looking for here? Because those are bad terms. People who, have more money, or that have achieved, whatever company or whatever they wanted to achieve, I think it's the same thing with them. And it kind of goes back to the 75,000 thing, once a person is able to, hit that point, you know what I mean? I think, that they probably hit that law, you know what I mean? They probably hit that law where they're like, well, I've kind of done what I wanted to do, and I've achieved that, you know what I mean? But I kind of want this more, you mean, or I kind of want this more, or, whatever, do you know what I mean? And maybe some of those sacrifices, that they made, throughout the, the time of whatever they were trying to achieve elsewise. I think sometimes, people do, come back around the other direction, maybe they do realize that they wanted something else more than, what they did achieve, and that also changes, their perception on money or how much they need or, whatever.
Yeah. I agree 100%. And you're right. I mean, they're like, and even though I'm saying like, what I'm saying is that you're not competing with others, like you are competing with one thing, which is time. Like either decision you make, there's going to be sacrifices, and only the individual person. And that's where I say it's not that's where I'm gonna get, like, don't compete against other people, because there's only one person that can decide what you're willing to sacrifice on and what you're not. And to let anybody think that you're wrong for the sacrifices, like, to have the realization that they're making sacrifices as well. They're just different sacrifices. So don't let
Right.
somebody else bully you because they made different sacrifices than you and think they made the better choice. They probably did make the better choice for them. But where this
exactly.
isn't like a cookie cutter fucking life where everybody's, you know what I mean? Like, there's just, and you're right. Like, it changes a lot throughout life too. Like, sometimes you go hard on one thing in life, and, you know, as you get older, you know, for most people, as you get older, it goes back towards family. Like, because you realize money isn't that big of a deal. Money isn't, you know. But again, there's also, you know, people that
It's
want to
also
do
the opposite, where people do chase money their entire life. Do you mean, you know,
Yep.
where their whole goal in life is to make as much money as possible, you know, and some of those people, you know, actually believe, you know, what I mean, actually do have that mindset. You mean, you know, across the board, you know, where their whole goal is to make, you know, as much money as possible, and the way that they can justify that, you know, could be something as simple as, you know, when they die, you know what I mean, or when they can't make any more money, then, you know, their family is set. You know what I mean, whether that's their kids, you know what I mean, or whoever it is, you know, a wife, or, you know, relative, you know, whatever, you know what I mean. And some people are just wired that way, you know, or that's what they want, you know, to achieve, you know. So I mean, I guess it really just all depends. But I guess to go wrap it all the way back up to what you were saying before, I mean, yeah, I mean, I guess people, you know, you can pretty much achieve anything that you want, you know. You're just going to have to, you know, work hard at doing that, and working hard in doing that sometimes requires you to make sacrifices that, you know, you might not want to make.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I think it comes down to. And that's, but again, I think it's more choices you make in life versus, you know, again, taking it full circle back to the luck. I just don't think it's as much
Yep.
luck as people think. Is just what people are willing and not. I think everybody wants to be a millionaire, but nobody actually wants to. When I say work, that also includes the sacrifices that come with that work.
Correct.
So
Yep, I
what?
would
So
agree
when
with
I
that.
say, like, it's not just that I mean like working hard, as in you're filling every hour of your day, but that you're actually working towards the actual goal, and you're making the sacrifices elsewhere where they need to be made to achieve that goal that you're talking about. If that makes sense.
Yep. No, I would agree with that. I mean, I'm a prime example of that right now with my content. You know, I think I've told you about this guy before, but like, there's another big mobile gaming content creator, and I guess big, in my opinion, might not be the same as everybody else's, but he's over 100,000 subscribers, right? And to me, you know what I mean, you know, that was huge, right? Because, you know, that, you know, I saw the money that he was making, you mean, you know, from it, you know, we had a really good personal relationship, you know, like as friends, you know what I mean? And, you know, he basically would discuss, you know, anything with me when it comes to that stuff. And I remember, dude, having conversations with him, man. And I this must have happened for months, you know, and I would have conversations with him all the time, you know, and I'm like, dude, I'm like, you know, I mean, I just really want that. You mean, you know, I just really want to create content, you know, I just really, you know, I wish I could build a channel, you mean, you know, to do that, you know, I think that'd be sweet, you know what I mean? But I was in the same boat, you know what I mean, of these people you're discussing, you know what I mean? Did I really want it? You know what I mean? And I say that because I wasn't putting in any work. You know what I mean? I wasn't, you know what I mean? I wasn't constantly, you know, trying to figure out, you know, ways to, you know, to do that, you know, to successfully try to do it, you know, to put in all of the time, you know, that it takes. I wasn't doing that. You mean, you know, I was all talk. You know what I mean? I was always saying, you know, oh, I would like to do that. Yeah, that would be sweet. I would like to do that. You know what I mean? But I didn't really put in the work to do it. I mean, this is the same for like months, you know. And finally, you know, finally there was just that one last conversation with that person, you know what I mean? Where something they said, you know what I mean, was like, dude, who gives a shit? You know what I mean? They were like, make a video, you know what I mean, on any game of your choice, post it on the platform, you know what I mean? And who cares? It's gonna suck. You know what I mean? You know, and that's kind of how they told me, you know what I mean? They're like, you know, it's gonna suck. You know, you place it on there, it's gonna suck. I mean, you know, and then just try it. You know, if you try it, then you know for sure if you know what I mean, you know if it's not going to work out for you, if it's something that you actually want to do or not. And then once I made that step, like literally I went into my room after getting off the phone with him, within like 40 minutes, you know, created a little short video on a topic in this game. I put it on there, and dude, the moment I got 5 views, dude, you know what I mean? Like the moment I got 5 viewers on that watched my video, I was instantly hooked. You mean I was instantly like, dude, I'm like, this is sweet. You know what I mean? Like, my mind went from being focused on his 100,000 subscribers, right? To I can actually do this. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I can create content. I can make a video. You know what I mean? And then my mind instantly, then I became consumed around that idea. You know what I mean? And then it turned into, at the beginning, right? Like, I have zero time to make videos. I've got no time to put in to do this work. When am I going to be able to work on this? When am I going to work on that? I'm so busy with other shit. And then my schedule started, subconsciously, transitioning into,
Right, you got rid of other shit that didn't really matter.
Oh,
I don't have to watch this TV show, or I don't have to.
Exactly. But it's
right.
weird. But it's weird because it's not like I sat down with my wife
Tricky
and
boy.
was like, all right, babe. It's not like I sat at with my wife and I'm like, all right, I need to make sure this time is done. This time is open. You know what I mean? I didn't do that. You know what I mean? Subconsciously, it just worked. It just doors started opening, where my thought process was like, well, instead of watching this TV show, why don't I go in there and make a video? You know what I mean? Or why don't I go edit a thumbnail? You know what I mean? And then now it's just consumed me, and now it's consuming my wife. You know what I mean? Like, she's the one who's telling me, all the time, well, babe, well, you got an hour. Why don't you go in there and work on making a video so you don't have to do it tomorrow? Or why don't you do it now so you don't have to do it later? You know what I mean? You can go to bed with me tonight. Like, that'd be sweet. Ha ha, wink, wink. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's interesting, man. I would agree.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. And that's why I'm just, because I've said that to people as well. I'm like, listen, like, you're going to have shitty content. Make shitty content. Like, don't be afraid to make, like, that's what I'm saying. Most people, that's like the whole t-shirt is like from nothing to start. Like, just, that triggers something in people, and I don't, enough people don't do it. And that's where, circling all the way back to the beginning, where I said, like, for whatever reason, like, people just can't start. Like, so many people just, and you do figure stuff out. Like you said, all that same stuff happened. You find out things to cut, like, and if you might have posted it and been like, oh, you know what, I don't like this. This isn't for me. And then at least either way, but yeah,
that's with anything, even like not even just content creation. Like, how does a person know, how does a person know that they don't like something without ever trying it? And I feel like there's a lot of people out there, who do that. You know what I mean? Who will claim like, oh, I don't like this. And they've never tried it. I'm not talking about food. I'm talking about opportunities. You know what I mean? I'm talking about, experiences. Somebody will say that they don't like something, or that is not, or that something's not good. You know what I mean? Or that's a bad thing. You know what I mean? Because they've never, they've never tried it, or they've never experienced, it to know if that's something that they do like, or, that they would like,
I think it's programmed into us from kids. If you look at, I have a couple, my kids are getting a little older. I have a daughter if she's never had a food before, she does not want to try that food. She's already decided she hates that food before she's ever tried it. If it's a new food, she has to try it and then realize, like, oh, I do like this. But instantly her reaction is, oh, I don't like that. Like, it's in our minds. And that's what I'm saying. Most people, for some reason, does not seem like they can have that thought and then make themselves be like, okay, but I'm going to do it anyways, to actually see whether I like it or not, or to actually see if I can do it or not, or to actually see, whatever. And again, and I hesitate to say that you got to make sacrifices, because, like, what happens is when you really find that passion, it becomes infectious to those around you. So, like, in the beginning, like, when I started making content, like, it was hard for my wife, like, hard. And it was hard for our marriage. But then what happened is, when she saw how much happiness it brought me, when she saw that it turned my mood around and I was a more enjoyable person in life, then, like, she slowly started getting on. And now it's like you said, my wife's like, oh, well, why don't you go do this now? That way you don't have to do it later. Why don't you jump on that? You should be doing this, Derek. You're slacking off here. You better get your shit done. And then nowadays, like, even again, like, it just keeps growing. Like, and then you're like, oh, but how do you spend time with your family? Well, now my wife's in my live streams chatting and chatting with people and becoming friends, and like, it like, if you allow it, or if you're open to that, like, it's not like a competition or even a sacrifice, but you become open to the fact, like, okay, just like I'm working on this content, I still need to work on my family. So how can I make the time that I do spend with them the best time ever? Then, like, you start to incorporate stuff. My wife helps me with some of this video editing stuff. She helps record for me. She helps edit or record B-roll for me. She's in my live streams chatting at times. She still does her stuff, but, like, you incorporate that, and I don't know. Again, I'm just always trying to encourage people. I really think, like, okay. So for example, let me ask you this. Let me pose it to you. Like, would you say like content creation and YouTube and all this stuff, like you've been doing it for how long now? 6 months, 7 months?
Yeah, going on 7 months.
Would you say it's like with a normal job, with a wife and a kid, would you say it's hard to do this?
Yeah.
I don't mean hard just as in like, is it hard work? But I mean just
no,
in
I know what
general.
you're
Like,
saying. Yeah.
so,
no,
but
I
let
know
me
what you're
ask it.
saying.
Like, okay, so it's hard. Like, you could quit tomorrow. Do you quit?
No.
And that's like, I don't get, like, how do you get other people to see that or to understand that? Like, do you know, like, do you get what I'm saying there?
The only word, the only word.
Like,
that I
yeah,
would
it's
say would be
hard as
passion.
fuck chasing your dreams. Like, it's hard as
But
fuck.
that's what
But
I'm
ask
saying. The only word I
anybody
could say
chasing
would be
their
passion.
dreams if they wish they could do it a different way. And every one of them would be like, no.
No, right. Well, but like I said, but I agree with, I mean, I agree with that statement, but the only word I would give them would be passion. I mean, that's literally what it comes down to. My situation is almost parallel to your situation, right? When it comes to, my wife and streaming and playing video games, right? Like my first part. So I've been married to my wife since 2017 of October. So, and I want to say, and I've been with her almost 7 years now. So like together wise. And so dude, it's tough, right? Like she didn't play video games. You know what I mean? She doesn't, she's not a gamer. You know what I mean? She came from a sports background, athletic background, right? And my entire life I've been a gamer. And so it was huge in our relationship, like, and it carried over into our marriage, I would be willing to spend more time, playing video games, you know what I mean? Than in her mind, me doing something more productive, right?
Mhm.
And so it stemmed from the very beginning, me playing video games. It was always a problem, always an issue. You know what I mean? I was always struggling, and this is crazy a thought, but I totally always believed like, you know what I mean? Like it's almost impossible, to find that perfect combination, right? Where like, you can't have, a super successful relationship unless if you both aren't gamers, that kind of stuff. And also, become that, level of gamer. But then things changed, you know what I mean, when I started creating content. And I know that sounds crazy, but like, obviously my wife like understood, like over the years, when we got married, and stuff, by that point, she already knew that I just enjoy gaming as a passion or a hobby, so that part was already fixed. But I'm saying, but like, when I started making content, like I was blown away, you know what I mean, with like how on board she was, right? And like I'm gonna be just completely honest. Like I thought at the time of creating content and starting it, I'm like, dude, this is gonna be a pain in the ass, right? Like I'm gonna have to, not only have time to play a game, right? Create content on that game, edit that content, post that content, you know what I mean? All dedicate all this time to this, you know what I mean? Like, and then also still try to find time, for my family and to do other things, to make sure that she's happy and satisfied. But what's insane is how awesome she is, and how her mindset, like you said, changed to she saw how passionate I was, you know what I mean, and how much I enjoyed, creating that content, right? And like, so she saw how important that was to me and how happy I was, and then for whatever reason, like that shifted in her. You know what I mean? That shifted in her for her to instantly be like, well, babe, you enjoy this. I want this for you. I can see that you want this. I can see that passion. I see that you enjoy it and you're happy. It brings you that happiness. You know what I mean? She's like, then we need to, we need to keep you going. We need to make sure that you can do that stuff. You know what I'm saying? And it's crazy because if you would have asked me this, a year ago, you know what I mean? I probably would have felt differently. You know what I mean? I probably would have been like, there's probably no way that I'd been able to invest that amount of time, into it. You know what I mean? Or I probably wouldn't be able to do that because, she probably, we probably would fight or, she wouldn't like that or, you know what I'm saying? But it's crazy how that changes, it changes once you actually do discover, that you enjoy something or that passion is there. I don't know. I feel like it just changes it. I mean, it's hard to explain that to somebody who doesn't experience that. So, I mean, I guess I can't really give you advice to say, like, how would I explain that to somebody? The only way that I could would be the word passion.
Yeah, I don't love the word passion personally. I mean, I get everything you're saying, and that's why I struggle. I think trying to get other people. It's just like when you start doing what it is that you really want to do, like things fall in place, man. They just do. And I don't think that is because I think most people have passion. I think the problem is most people are not following that passion, and I think that's the issue. Because I
Right.
really
So
think
then
when you're chasing that passion, like you said, things just somehow seem to work out, man. Call it
Yeah, but
karma,
so
call it God, call it whatever. It just seems to.
right. But my question is, so when I say passion, right? Like I'm thinking the same thing, but you make a valid point, like what you just said there. So like, I mean, I guess the question is then is, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess you could have a passion but not act upon that passion. So then if that's the case, then my argument is it really a passion then?
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah,
It
absolutely.
is. It is.
I think so.
Okay.
I mean, so are you saying that passion wasn't there before and that it just all of a sudden showed up one day? I mean, you even said you had
No,
had a
I mean,
thought
I guess
before,
you're
but
right.
you're worried your wife would. That's what I'm saying. I really think it's more. It's more. We make so many excuses not to start. That's why I'm such a big proponent of like just start. Fuck. Don't give a fuck about luck. Don't give a fuck about your content being good. And this is not just about content. This is about anything in life. Like,
Right.
you think your wife's gonna be mad at you for not, or for being a video game player, and she's not. Like, I don't like, would you change anything with your marriage nowadays where you're, I mean, like, I'm sure everybody would change, but I'm saying, like, do you wish you married a gamer girl instead of your wife?
No.
Like, right? That's what, like, the like, we play video, why, like, I think of it in terms of like, I think of my life in terms of a lot like a video game. Like, if I played a video game and everything was super easy and everything was just given to me, like, how long would I play that video game? Like, I don't think we hate hard stuff as much as we, for some reason, convince ourselves that we hate hard stuff. Like, it makes
Yeah.
life interesting. It makes life fun. Like, the relationship I have today with my wife would not be that relationship without that hard stuff. And I don't know that I would want that relationship that didn't have the hard stuff, knowing what I have with the relationship that has the hard stuff. Obviously, if you've never had a relationship, if you've never had a long-term marriage relationship where the hard stuff comes up, like, and you had to pick one of those, you're probably going to, in your mind, pick the easy one. But when you get to experience the hard stuff and see what it brings into the picture, and then can go back and say, okay, you could have choose to have it all easy. I just don't think very many people would be like, oh yeah, I'll go back and choose the easy way. Like, you know what? Yeah, fuck everything now, like, that I have right now. Let me go back and do the redo on the easy way. Most people are like, no, dude, it taught me so much. Nah, dude, it helped me grow as a person. No, man, I love my wife way more than now, obviously, I mean, you know, some people give up and some people whatever. And some, you know, I guess I'm not, I mean, I guess some people do that. They're like, fuck, this is too hard. I'm going to quit and go do the easy way. But I guess what I'm saying is, for me, I've learned that, like, if something's hard, like, run towards that as fast as you can fucking run towards it. Like, that's what you should be chasing in life.
Yeah, because
Don't run from it.
Right, because normally one would claim that it's got to be hard for a reason, right? Like there's got to be a reward on the other end of that. You mean, you know, that's worth, you know, what I mean, something, you know, what I mean, because it's hard, you know, to do. I mean, that's kind of the whole principle behind anything that's hard, right?
Right, but
I
I'm
mean,
like,
you're
it
chasing
seems
something. You're chasing something that you're chasing something. Well, but no, I do agree with you. But I mean, I don't know.
right. What I'm saying, I hear you saying it, and like, to me, I'm thinking like, yeah, that sounds so stupid, Derek. What you just said, like, yeah, the hard stuff's obviously, like, it's hard for a reason. That's why it's awesome. And I'm like, but like, we all get that intellectually. I feel like we can sit here and say that, like, oh yeah, I mean, if it was easy, everybody would be able to have it. Everybody would be able to do it. But then yet we're still in our minds, like, well, what's the easy way I could do this?
But yeah, but I think that was the point that I was about to say. That was the point that I was about to say. I mean, I honestly think it comes down to society in general. You mean, you know, I don't know why it is doing this, but becoming lazy. I mean, that's literally what it is. I mean, like, I think people, you mean, in general, I don't know why or where the science behind it comes from, but for whatever reason, the more we progress, right? Like everybody's trying, you know, the general, I don't even know if I want to put a label on it, but like there's a massive amount of people out there, you mean, you know, who are trying to, you know, they're playing that, how can I achieve success without putting in the hard work? You know what I mean? How can I achieve success as fast as possible, right? Or, you know, or they're
how can I get lucky?
Exactly. Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, how can I become super rich, tomorrow, the get rich quick scheme. I mean, that's, for whatever reason, I don't know why that's attracted so many people, but like for whatever reason, I mean, that's the mentality that people have turned to. You know what I mean? They've kind of reached this point where they're like, oh, okay, well, if this person doesn't have to try as hard, I mean, they've got, whatever they got whatever they achieved, then, why do I need to try to do it, the hard way? You know what I mean? Like, sure, I can put in all this hard work and do it, but shit, if I just, if I happen to be in the right place in the right time, maybe I can get just as lucky and just as famous, whatever they think. You know what I mean? And that's kind of the mentality that people in general, you know what I mean? A lot of people, have kind of developed, and it's a nasty habit. You know what I mean? And I don't know the reason why, and I don't know why people have turned to that mindset. But yeah, I mean, it's very, very evident. And again, for the lack of better words, or not better words, I think this is the truth. I mean, kids these days, like, that are being this generation coming behind us, I think they're feeding that. I mean, they're feeding that mentality of, well, what can we do right away? I mean, how can I invent something today? You know what I mean? How can I do something now, that I could in turn just sell to make money? I mean, because, that's the whole goal. I need to make some money so that I could just not have to work. So I can, not have to put in any effort, and that's another misconception that people think. People think that, you just develop money, you know what I mean? And then it fixes all your problems and you never have to work. It's like, no. That's not not how it works.
And the only thing I would say, just to clarify, just and not that I really, but like I don't think it's this like kids these days. I think it's all of humanity, old, young. I think most of humanity is just, and again, and I'm not saying it like on the other side, like I'm some kind of immune to this fallacy of humankind of like, I used to be there. Like they had this point in my life where like it was like a light switch just got flipped, and it's like, oh, I'm running away from the stuff that's going to give me exactly what I want in life. Like exactly what I'm searching from. I'm turning around, running away by being a lazy ass at work, by shutting down when I have an argument with my wife, by just assuming that I'm going to be a shitty dad and not working to improve my marriage or my kids. Oh, that I'm just never going to be as lucky as the next person. So I'm just not going to work on improving my videos. I'm just going to make them and upload them and hope that by some chance someone special is going to recognize me. And for some odd reason, they're going to promote some sucky video. it was just like a light, like, but I just, and again, I don't know what caused, actually, I don't know. I would say drugs caused that switch. Psilocybin. Magic mushrooms caused that switch to happen in my brain. Honestly.
Yeah,
I'm being dead
I
serious.
don't know. I mean,
Marijuana and psilocybin. Hopefully that's not what everybody in the world needs to get that flip to happen. But I really, now that I have that flip, I look back and I just feel like 99% of people in the world, they want it the easy way. But again, and I'm not saying it in a condescending way. I'm really not. I don't know if it comes across as that. I'm saying it like in a, like, you don't realize how much better everything is if you just don't do it that way.
Right.
Like, and that's where I say, like, I'm not anything special. I'm not anything, like, I really believe, like people, Princess said in the chat, just do it. Like, honestly, yes. Like, I really believe, just do it. Nike. Shia LaBeouf, the meme of him saying that, just do it, do your dream. Like, put in the hard work. Just do it.
Right.
Forget about luck. Like, does it exist? Sure. Yes. Fine. Let's just say yes. Who cares? Dude, put in the hard work.
Right.
Are you going to create shitty content? Yes. Who cares? Put in the hard work. Are you going to have to make sacrifices? Yes. Who cares? Put in the hard work.
Right, but I think that's where people, like you said, I mean, I think that's the problem. As I think people are trying to create content, right? Or they're trying to do something just in the hope, do you mean that they get the luck? Do you know what I'm saying? Like they feel like,
well, I think they want to avoid all the bad stuff. Like it's like it's not that I don't even think that people don't want to put in the work. I think it's like, I'll put in the work if you can guarantee me all this bad stuff isn't going to happen over here. If you guarantee me that my family's not going to fall apart. If you guarantee me that, I'm not gonna lose my job because I'm putting off stuff to work on my side project here. If you can guarantee me that it's gonna be successful, like, and that I'm not gonna waste 2 years of my life chasing after this dream. It's like they want all the positive with none of the, and it's like, no, you can't get any of those guarantees. So what? Put in the hard work.
If you want me to be completely honest, I mean, that was one of the reasons why I don't think that that would be 100% the reason why I did not, start it off or do it when I really wanted to the first time, was because of those, unsecurities. Is that even a word? I mean, you know what I mean? Like, insecurities. I mean, the ones, just for the fact that nobody could guarantee me that. I mean, nobody could guarantee me that, my job would be safe. I mean, or that I would have enough time, to invest in it, to be successful, or, you know what I mean? I think that was one of the biggest things, in my opinion, was I couldn't get over the fact that, well, what ifs, you know what I mean? And that's when, like I said, my buddy, who was a content creator, that's what he stressed to me, over and over again, was, who cares? I mean, at the end of the day, you're doing something that you want to do. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. I mean, then, okay, then you stop doing it. If you really want to, you know what I mean? Then you just don't do it anymore.
Right. Like,
and I was like, I mean, I guess you're right. You know what I mean? It's not like there is no risk, you know what I mean? Like, the risk is, if you don't put the time in, then how do you know? You know what I mean? How do you know if it was something you could have done or, not? So, I mean, I'm like, yeah, I mean, makes valid point.
Yeah. I don't know. And it sounds, like I said, it sounds so simple. You say this stuff out loud sometimes and you're just sitting here in my mind, I'm thinking like anybody listening to this out in the world right now is probably like, well, duh. But it's true,
Right.
man. Like, okay, like, what happens if I work really hard at a side hustle and I have a normal job and my marriage falls apart? Well, if your marriage starts falling apart, then you got a decision to make. Do you quit the
Right.
side hustle and fix your marriage? Do you realize the side hustle means more to you than your marriage and you fix the issue that's still there? Either way, there's an issue that needs fixed.
Right. Exactly.
But you just do nothing. It's like you're deer with caught in the headlights, like just standing there like,
Right. Doing nothing. Yeah. Doing nothing, in my opinion, is worse than doing something. Do you know what I mean? Even if that something turns out to be the wrong thing, right? I mean, that's kind of the way I feel. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, if you make a wrong decision, it's still better than making no decision.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, that's kind of the way I feel.
And again,
like,
anybody that I know that's made the decision never looks back and is like, oh, I wish I wouldn't have made that decision. Sometimes they decide, like, maybe their marriage starts falling apart or they're not spending enough time with their kids. Maybe they have the realization like, oh, you know what? I actually care about spending more time with my kids than I do about creating my own side hustle. Great. Like, that's awesome. Like, you wouldn't have came to that realization without putting in the hard work.
Right.
Like, but at least now you know, and now you can chase that. Or like, I remember, and I hope Princess don't mind me using her as an example, but I know she's always in the chat and stuff. But I remember when, like, she first came around to the stream and she's like, she was going to school. I don't even remember for what anymore, to be honest. But it's like, and I remember, like, one of her first questions, like, in the stream, like, one of the first times we talked was like, I really think about going all out for my artwork and really trying to make it. I know it's risky. I know it's da-da-da-da-da. Like, what do you think? And I'm like, of course, fucking try it. Like, and I bet if you asked her today, like, do you wish you wouldn't have? Do you wish you wouldn't have tried it? She'd be like, hell no. Like, does that mean in another 3 years she's going to be some super successful artist that's completely making her living from her artwork? Who knows? But that time will come and she'll have to make those decisions, and she'll make the decision. But to say, like, she wishes, like, completely could go back and be like, oh, I wish I wouldn't have made that decision and at least tried it. Who says that? That's my argument. Whoever, like you. Okay, let's say in 6 months down the line, Codations, your shit's just not taking off like you wanted it to. Shit's going down with your wife, and you guys are talking about divorce, and you got to make a decision, and you make the decision to save your marriage and quit doing content creation. Do you really think you're going to regret at least trying it over this last couple months or a year or 2 years or whatever it might end up being? Are you really think you're going to look back and say, man, I wish I wouldn't have tried?
No, and that's I would never, I don't feel that way at all. I mean, at the same point though, to that, I mean, I guess the second argument, which doesn't really pertain to this, but the second argument would be like, I wouldn't let it get that far. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, like, like I wouldn't let it get that far. You know what I mean? Like, obviously I would hope, do you know what I mean, that I've paid enough attention to both of them, do you know what I mean? To like realize, that something's going on prior, you know what I mean? And I've got, good enough communication skills with my wife, do you know what I mean? That I would and hope, you know what I mean, that wouldn't come to the conclusion with
Right,
me,
right. I mean, yeah, that's everybody's hope. And to be honest, 99% of the time, there's a great quote out there, and I'm just going to paraphrase it because I don't know how it goes. But something like, 99% of the bad stuff that I worry about never happens.
Right. Yep.
99% of the stuff I worry about never happens. And so you're right. Most of the time you catch it and you make adjustments as you need to go or as you go and do what you need to do. And like, it's really not that big of a deal. Like, none of those big monsters are as scary as they seem if you just start and do it. And even if there is a big one, like I said, you'll make the decision that's best. Like, you'll make the decision that's best for you. If there's one thing I can say about humans is if you're presented with a monster that you've got to make a decision on, you'll make the decision that's best for you because we're selfish creatures.
Yep.
And again, like if that's you wanting to save your marriage, you'll do that. If you don't want to save your marriage, you won't do that. If you want to spend more time with your kids, you'll do that. If you don't, like, that'll all come out. And maybe at the end of the day, you'll look at yourself and hate who you became or something, but then you'll make a decision then and change it, or you'll realize you can live with it and you'll be that person. Princess says you'll regret it more if you never try. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's all I try to stress to people. Again, like I said, I mean, Princess, since you're in the chat, obviously, I mean, what's your answer? Do you regret, you remember that day you asked me in the chat, like, should I chase my dream of being an artist? If you never, if you do it for another 2 years and you never make it your living, do you think you're ever going to regret that you took the chance to do it? Like, maybe I'm the crazy one. I don't know. But anyways.
I mean, while we're waiting for her response, I mean, the only thing she says, you'll regret it more if you never.
That she had already said that. Yeah.
Oh, okay, she did.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. I mean, in my opinion, I don't think so. I mean, I think that I agree with her first statement. I mean, if you never try to do it, then clearly I feel like that's a way bigger regret, do you mean, than not knowing, you know what I mean? Like, because if you try something and you suck at it and you fail at it and you never achieve it, you shouldn't regret it, versus if you never try it, then that's a big regret because you never knew. I mean, that's kind of the way.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And again, I feel like we're beating a dead horse at this point, or not we, but me. I feel like but it's just, I'm so passionate. I don't know why. There's something in my soul because I just wish that I would have started so much sooner in life. Like I said, I had some of these realizations or some of these epiphanies. I hate even calling them that because, again, this is all simple stuff. And like, we know this stuff, but we don't internalize it. We don't get it within our souls, within our heart, or whatever you want to call it. Like, we understand it, but we don't actually do it. And I want to get people to understand, like, just fucking go for it, dude. Whether it becomes successful or not, whether you become famous or not, whether you become the best medical doctor or not, whether you become the best fast food hamburger flipper in the world or not, like, whatever your dream is, like, whether you make it or not, really doesn't matter. Like, that's not what you're doing it for anyways. You're doing it because, like Princess just said in the chat, no, I don't regret it. I honestly don't care if I make it. I'm just happy painting. It's about happiness, not money. Obviously, we all want to live, but I don't know. I mean, if I had to work a normal job to pay my bills and do streaming on the side like this and have my then that's what I'd do. Is like, you got to do what you got to do. Like, I understand not everything's perfect. I'm not saying everything's going to be perfect just because you chase your dreams, but at least I'm doing what I enjoy versus not doing what I enjoy and being like, oh, well, life's unfair. Life sucks. I can't do it because I got to go work a normal job. Instead, I can't stream 6 days a week for 8 hours a day for a living. So instead, I'm not even going to stream 2 days a week for 4 hours at a time. Like, come the fuck on, man.
I mean, to be honest with you, I mean, I just told my brother a month ago, I just gave him the confirmation, that we had a long conversation on the phone, and he was basically explaining to me, how all he wants, this is no joke, this is my 22-year-old brother, all he wants in life is to be able to sell all of his shit and everything that he has. He wants to be able to sell everything down to like a couple clothes in a duffel bag or something, and then he wants to get a ride out to Colorado and then just literally work some part-time little gig job to get enough money to buy weed and just go live in a tent in the woods with a bunch of friends. That's literally what he told me. That's the only thing he wants in life. He wants nothing else. He's tired of managers, always being crappy. I mean, like he's tired of having to try to pay bills and always, work to make money and then just to take that money and invest. He literally had like an hour-long conversation of him explaining me how society works in his run. And he explained to me how he doesn't want to be any part of that he hates that. And the only thing he wants to do is what I just explained to you. And do you know what I told him? Not that he was crazy or that he was insane. I said, if that's what makes you happy and that's what you want, then what are you waiting for? Then to go sell your shit and then go do whatever it is that you feel like you want to do. Like, do I support that? Do I support that as in my lifestyle? No. Do you know what I mean? Like, but at the same time, like, if that's what he wants, that's going to make him happy, but then by all means do it.
And the worst that happens is he does it. And like one of my friends that said they were going to do that because weed was legal in Colorado and they were just going to live there and just work a server job and just get a small apartment and smoke weed all day. If they go there and do that, the worst that happens is they realize that's not what they want out of life. And they do want a nice car and a nice house and they fucking move back or get a better job or like, but again, like at least you're moving like forward. At least you're
Right.
seeing like me. Like I think the problem is people like say like, oh, this is what I want, but then in the back of their mind they're like, their mind's sitting there saying to them, but is it really what you want? Are you sure? What if you go there and it fucks everything up? What if your whole life becomes ruined? Then make a fucking change again. Like what? Like at least then no, that's not what I want.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Well, and I mean, and like I told you before, man. Like this is a perfect time to bring this up too. Like, I told you, man. Like my story, dude.
Real quick before you go into that, Princess says, "I'd love
you're
that." Talking about going to live in the woods, she says, "I tell my boyfriend all the time, I'm gonna go live in the woods, laugh my ass off."
Then go do it. What are you waiting for, Princess? Sell your apartment or your house. Go live in the woods.
But anyways, go ahead.
But what I was saying was, I mean, to bring up some of my past, like and I won't go too in depth because I could tell stories all night long. But my ex-girlfriend, I dated the same chick, from the end of ninth grade all the way through, graduation and then into my first year in college. And the craziest thing was, is it was a cookie cutter relationship. And what I mean by that is all of our milestones, everything, we were trying to achieve, was pretty much like living up to like, her parents' standards, right? You know what I mean? Like, oh, you got to do this, you got to do that. Oh, you can't date my daughter if you don't go to college. Oh, you can't, you know what I mean? All of this stuff, and at the time, obviously I was blind, right? Like I didn't see it. I mean, I didn't know it, I just knew that like, oh, this is what I'm supposed to do. Right. Like this is, I'm supposed, I'm dating this chick, I like her, this is what I'm supposed to do. And long story short, she ended up, I mean, it's a way bigger story than this. So I'm going to be paraphrasing a shit ton, but long story short, I ended up getting, she cheated on me with a best friend of mine that used to come over and stay the night at our house, at our apartment together, all this stuff. Right. And at the time, dude, it was like the worst thing, right? Like to me at that time, right? Like at that time, because I had already talked to her dad about marrying her and all that stuff. And, I think I was 19, 20 at the time. And, and I had this it was just horrible. Right. And I couldn't wrap my head around it, all of our friends were the same friends, you know what I mean? Like the college that I was going to, I was just finishing up my first year in basic, general studies, you know what I mean? I didn't really start like any like actual major, classes yet, and I had this, this idea that I was going to do IT work, so I was going to college for that, and then I was working, 2 part-time jobs, to help, pay for stuff, outside of college and all of this stuff. And when all of that happened, this goes on to what you were just talking about. I was like, I'm done with this. You know what I mean? And it wasn't just, like her, it was like everything. You know what I mean? It was like the town, you know what I mean? The apartment complex, the friends, my part-time jobs, you know what I mean? My college. Like, I literally was just like, I'm done with this shit. Like, I don't want anything to do with it. And what's crazy is like, people don't realize that you have that freedom. You know what I mean? Like, you technically do, you know what I mean? And that's what happened. At that point, I stayed there for like 3 more months, after all that went down. I called up my dad, you know what I mean? And I was like, look, when summer hits, you know what I mean? Like, in college is out, I want to come and visit you, for 2 months, here in Iowa, in the United States. And I was like, I want to come visit you, So by this point, it was like, closer to 6 months, before all, since all this blew over. Right. And so I come up to visit my dad, I'm here for 2 months. Guess what? I ended up here for 2 months. At the end of the 2 months, I met my wife now, which is absolutely absurd. I mean, you know what I mean? But like, I ended up meeting her through my stepsister. They went to college together, we were at a thing. I ended up meeting her, just talking and stuff. I ended up going back home, deciding at the end of, my trip, I talked to my dad and I said, look, I want a new start. I want a new life. I want a new start. I want to make new friends. I want to go back to college. I want to do all this stuff, but I want to do it over. I want to create my life for myself. I don't want to live that old life. I want to do my own thing. And that's what I did. I went home. I went home and I was only home for like 2 weeks. And my dad was like, look, here's your thing. You got a little S10, Chevy S10 truck, a tonneau cover on the back. You get your mission for the next 2 weeks. If you really want to move up here, is to sell everything in your, that you can't fit in that truck. You know what I mean? That, we're not going to take with us. Load the truck up, pick me up on the airport on Friday. And then we'll literally book it across the United States, 18 and a half hour drive. And that's what we did. I was set on it. I put my mind to it. He got a plane ticket. I picked him up at the airport. We drove an 88 S10 truck, 18 and a half hours, back across the states. And then basically, I guess my point to this story is it's insane because at the time, like, I didn't know that there was something bigger for me. Do you know what I mean? Like, if I wouldn't have made that decision, you know what I mean? Like, what would have happened? You know what I mean? Like, would I have hated my job still? Yeah. You know what I mean? Would I have still continued to be around those same friends? Maybe. You know what I mean? I don't know, but looking back on it now, it's like, I'm fucking glad I made that decision. You know what I mean? Like, I met my wife, I was here for a while, before I ever, pursued anything, you know what I mean? And then things just started growing. And then it was like, oh shit, this is awesome. Then we started dating, then it was like, this is, this relationship is 10 times different than, the cookie cutter one, I had before, you know what I mean? But probably because of experiences and you learn, or whatever, but I don't know. It's just interesting.
Well, and right. And I,
that decision.
Yeah. And I like, not to interrupt, but I just, because I got to ask again, because, and I'm asked for, and if your answer is different than what I think, or what I keep sprouting here, then please say so. Because I'm trying to understand for myself. Because like I said, I'm always trying to help people get past that. Because I had that same spot in my life where it was like, I don't like where my life is. I want to make a change. I want to do over. And then I did that. And I've been happier ever since. Even if I've made mistakes, I've been happier. So again, my question though is, so if you could go back and erase all that shit that you went through with your ex, and like, would you? Like, legit,
No.
would you?
No.
And again, so that again, like, it's never as, like, I don't know. It's just never as bad as you think, I guess. Or I don't know the word to describe. I mean, it's bad. I'm not saying it's not bad, but it's never, I don't know. I just don't think, I mean.
It's hard to explain, but like, just to answer that same question a second time. The second time is I was broke my entire life. I had a horrible childhood when it comes to the standard childhood. Would I go back and change it? I've been asked that question 100 billion times. The people that I have smoked weed with, right? Like around a campfire, and talked for like fucking, 5 hours and explained them my entire childhood, right? What's insane is they always ask me that exact same question. I don't know why that question comes up, but they always ask me that question. If you could go back and change it, would you? Like, if you wish you could do something different or do this or this, which my answer is always no, because what I've learned from that situation, and the things that I've been through have manifest me, in my opinion, to who I am today.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. I know what you mean. And that's always, that. And I keep asking that just because I hope that maybe out there in the universe, there's one person listening to this that's just like, I don't know. Maybe it just resonates, man. I know it sounds stupid, and I know it's like gets to do with like, I don't know, lovey-dovey type shit or whatever you want to call this, like emotions that I've always had a hard time dealing with myself in life. But like, it just fucking, I don't know, man.
The
I want to
podcast
help.
for tonight's got to be just do it.
It is, man, because I'm telling you, you will not regret it. Stop making excuses. Stop making stop letting your brain fucking trick you into thinking like it's gonna be this horrible thing if you try it and it doesn't work out. Like, it won't be, man. It won't be. You will not regret much.
Right. No,
Just
I
won't.
get it.
Princess says, well, I'm scared of spiders, which is why she don't want to go live in the woods, I guess. Well, but see, you made a choice. You said, and already, do you hate that choice or no? Because you're like, no, because I hate spiders. 9th grade into college, holy shit. Yeah, apparently he's had my relationships, none of them were long. I had bad relationships up until my wife. Princess, sounded like you said, I just don't stink. If you change the past, you wouldn't be where you are today. And again, it doesn't mean like we're not literally saying like, yeah, we don't wish bad shit didn't happen to us, but it's just like you learn to appreciate the bad shit almost. Like you learn, like you can come to this point in your life where it's like, it's not really about good or bad shit. It's just about like, you can use the bad shit for good if you choose to. Like you can let that shitty stuff make you a better person. You can let it teach you stuff, which then helps you in life. So it's like, okay, like, yeah, it was shitty stuff. I wish it didn't happen to me, but it did. And I don't want to change it because I learned all this shit. I learned all that I wouldn't have learned if it didn't happen.
Yeah, I would go a step further by saying, that phrase that everybody talks about where it's, things always happen for a reason. Right.
Yeah.
But I think people look at that phrase, or they get that phrase twisted and thinking that, a person did something bad, right? So something bad happens to them, right? Or something bad happens to a person because of something bad that they did, right? Or something, and I think that mindset is a little bit twisted on that, because I think it's more stating, like you said, where, yeah, something bad happens to a person, but what are they supposed to get out of that situation? You know what I mean? So like, just because like my ex-girlfriend cheated on me and it was a bad situation at first, I mean, now I understand that, but then you would have asked me that statement and I'd been like, no, it's, it's fucking bullshit. I mean, it's probably because I, did something or I didn't deserve this, or whatever, when instead, now looking back on it, I see the lessons learned. You know what you mean? So I still see that value in that bad stuff. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
There's a scripture I love in the Bible that says, and I think it's exactly what we're talking about right now that I think a lot of people don't get. And it says, the scripture says, I might be paraphrasing again. I don't know exactly how it goes, but it basically says, all things work for the good of those that serve him. Talking about all those that follow Christ, everything works for the good. It's not saying everything's going to be good. Like, and it's not saying like good or bad that you did, like Codation said, that whether you did bad things or good things, bad or good things happen to you. Like, yes, that happens to some extent, I think. I mean, if you do bad shit, there's consequences. But it's saying that like, even when bad shit happens, you have a choice. You can allow it to work for the good of your life, or you can you can stay where you're at. You can let it bother you. You can let that bad experience stop you from trying again in the future or whatever, or let it hurt future relationships because you got cheated on or whatever. Or you can use it to like, for the good of you, like to learn from, to know what to look for going into the next relationship, or whatever. Like it, I don't know. It's just, again, I'm not a real religious person, but
Right.
I still think religious text holds a lot of truth. And it just always reminds me of that scripture that, it basically all things work for the good to those that serve him. Talking again.
Right.
About
And
God.
and I completely
Princess says she cheated, that bitch.
No, and I get it. You mean, and that's what I'm saying. I mean, I'm not preaching, by saying that, that situation wasn't sucky, you know what I mean, or anything like that. And I'm not going to say that it didn't have any impact on my future relationships, because I would be a lie. Like, it absolutely did. You know what I mean? I mean, it absolutely was hard, to not go into the next relationship. You mean, without having, having that full trust. You mean,
Yep.
I'm not going to lie. It was a struggle. It was an absolutely struggle, to get to where I am now with my marriage. Do you know what I mean?
For sure.
But you know what I mean? My whole point of making that statement is it's a lesson to be learned. You know what I mean? And again, my ex-girlfriend cheating on me looking back on it now, you know what I mean? I am not, in that mindset to tell you that, oh, it was all her, she's a bitch, that's a bad person. No, there was absolutely things, that I could look back on that I myself did or didn't do. Do you mean, that could have aided in that? You know what I mean? So I mean, it's a learning process around the whole, the whole thing. And that's what I'm trying to explain, just because something bad happens to somebody or somebody doesn't become what they think successful is or what they're trying to achieve doesn't mean that there's not something to be learned from it,
100%, dude. 100%. So the message of this podcast tonight was just do it. And be smart about how you do it.
Right.
Exactly. I know. I just want to insert that meme in here.
People wear protection.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, I think we're both on the same page with this one. I don't know. I just, like I said, I can't help it. I always go to this kind of stuff, but my hope is just always, I just know the shit I've gone through in life. And like, again, like no one's saying it's easy or roses or whatever, but it's like, if I can just help one other person see, like, you'll just be so much happier if you just get over all that shit and just fucking chase after whatever it is that you should be chasing after. Because I think everybody knows what it is, but they just, like I said, I think we let our brains trick us. We let past failures trick us. I don't know.
I think it's also laziness too. I think it's easier to take the easy way, man. It's hard to explain. I mean, it's just, sometimes it's just easier. And some people have that struggle, with taking the hard road, right? They take the hard road, even though if the hard road leads to their dreams, right? And aspirations, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's still easier to take the easier path. You know what I mean? And I think sometimes, people get caught up in that. They get caught up in, well, I'll just ride the, the smooth path the entire time. You know what I mean? And if it happens, it happens, whatever. You know what I mean? But sometimes you can't do that. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's better to go, through the, the hard, the rough, you know what I mean? To try to get to where you're going, because it probably is going to be way more rewarding, in my opinion. I don't know. I'm not, I'm not there. I guess I can't say, I can't say, that, oh, I took the smooth path and I got what I achieved, you know what I mean? Or, I can't say I took the hard path and got what I achieved. I mean, from my experiences, I can tell you what I've done and the shit that I've been through, you know what I mean? To get to where I am. But I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. Yep. I agree 100%, my friend. I think, I don't know. I think people are waking up some. To kind of end on a positive note, I guess. The podcast as we wrap up here. I think the one thing about this generation coming up that makes me hopeful for people and for the human race is that I do think a lot of this younger crowd coming up, because of the internet and because of being able to, like, even though it does create a lot of negative stuff too, like people being comparing themselves to other people and stuff. I think the one nice thing is it also has shown people that, like, you can pretty much do anything you want in this life and find a way to make a living of it. Like, there's people doing all kinds of shit that make a living nowadays from doing that. So I don't know. I think it's also shown, waking up to a lot of this generation come up now, that they can, they don't, 20 years ago, when we first turned 18 and stuff, and the internet really wasn't quite a full-fledged thing yet in terms of the content that you see now. And if you told somebody nowadays, like, oh, I just want to, 20 years ago, like, oh, I want to sell everything I have and move to Colorado and like live out in the woods and smoke weed all day, everybody'd be like, you're fucking crazy, man. You're going to like die and starve to death. And like now most people are like, yeah, dude, go for it, man. You could probably make a vlog about it and probably be a millionaire and smoke all the weed you want.
I mean, the truth of the matter is that's 100% true, man. That's literally, I don't know. That's literally how it is. I think people, I don't know. I mean, our grandparents would never have ever in a million years thought that we could make money. You mean playing video games? You mean and having people watch us? Yeah. I think my parents and my wife's parents did not even believe in that until I talked about my channel. I mean, like I think they didn't even think that. I mean, they're only in their late 40s.
Yeah, I remember a couple, like a month or so ago, when I got $100 donation on my stream, and I mentioned something to my parents about making it. They're like, somebody gave you $100 because you sit in front of the computer and we're playing a game. And I'm like, yeah. And I still think to this day they think I'm lying, and I think they think I'm a drug dealer. I don't know. Like, I still think they're like, you're like fucking lying to us. Nobody gave you $100. Nobody donated you $100 for sitting there playing a video game. And I'm like, no, yeah, it really happened. Like, I still to this day, like when they're like, oh, you know, are you making any money from your? Yeah, about $500 a month. For what? Like, what do you do? Play video games? Like, what else do you do? That's it. Like, make content about video games. Like,
Bro, they don't.
they're like, wait, so there's
don't
people that are paying you there's people, and it's the same people every month that are just giving you $5 every single month. They just pay you $5 because you're sitting there playing video games. I'm like, yes.
Yeah, well,
And it just blows their mind. They're like, what?
Yeah,
it doesn't even matter the fact that it's like, you know, maybe $50 a month. Like, it's not even a big number. It's the fact that it's anything at all. Like, the 0 to even 50. Like, it's not like they're like, oh, wow, yeah, you're making $50 a month, but you know, that's not really enough to live on. It's just more of like you're making, like, even the fact that you're making $50 from playing a video game. They're just like, what in the world is going on? Like, is the world ending?
Explain to me. Yeah, but I mean, I know we're gonna be closing up soon, but like, I mean, but where does that concept come from? Like, in their brains, why can't they, or I don't understand why they don't understand that. Like, where do they get that insane thought process of how you can make money doing that? I mean, they understand that a person can go and grow, you know, corn in their backyard, right? Not be a company and then get in their truck and sell it on the side of the road. So why don't they understand the concept that you can play a video game?
Yeah.
Like, that's what I don't understand.
Yeah. Princess says, didn't parents used to think that video games make you violent? LOL. There's still a lot of parents that do. And she says, okay, Derek, yes, we believe it happened. I know. That's how they, like, they still don't. Yeah, I think they just, like, now say they believe it just to shut me up. But Princess says it's because they're from a different time. Not only from a different time, but, okay, like, you say that, Gradations, but let me throw it back at you. You just said, like, you never would imagine as a teenager that you could make money from video games. It just, that's kind of my point to most people. Cause like, you know, we're kind of living this age, like, and this is the one downside I would say about this generation coming up is, and not just, but human, like, this is where humanity's at in 2020. Humanity's at, we live in the worst fucking time to be alive. Look at all this racism. Look at all this shit. Look at all that stuff. You can make money playing a video game. You can make money doing your makeup on the internet. You can make money doing 10-second dances to popular songs on TikTok. Like, yeah, there's shit that's wrong, but like, the reason that they just don't get it is because, like, there's never been this opportunity. Like, the like 20 years ago, the amount of money to distribute content was phenomenal. The gatekeepers that were in place, the production companies, you had to, like, you know, find some TV show producers that would give you a chance to do whatever. Like, but now just anybody with a cell phone, and it doesn't even got to be like, this is a Note 10, like $1,000 cell. Well, now it's not $1,000 cell phone, but $1,000 cell phones. It doesn't even got to be that. You could pick up like a Google Pixel 3 for probably $200 and make good, like, it be high enough quality that you can make content that would do well. Like, we just live in we're super blessed, but people just don't get it, man. They get too focused on just it's the same with everything. They get too focused on the negative. Too many people don't chase their dreams because they're too focused on the negative voice in their head. Too many people think the world's falling apart and ending because they're focused on just the negative shit. Like, we live in one of the best times. Like, listen, like, and I don't mean, like, I'm all for Black Lives Matter. I'm all for transgender rights, all the social issues that we're talking about today. But 500 years ago, you didn't have time to even argue about that stuff. You worked in a field from sun up to sundown just to eat every fucking day. Like, do people forget like, just 500 years ago, 100 years ago in the Great Depression, like, you were just wondering where your next meal was going to come from. Now you can go to McDonald's and for $3 get more calories than those people in the Great Depression. You can get a double cheeseburger and a fry for $3, and the people in the Great Depression were probably wishing for that amount of calories for a full day. Like,
right.
We're just stupid, man. We're stupid as a human race sometimes. I just don't get it. Again, not that none of the like social issues super important. I'm 100% in agreement that they're important. Things need to change, but I just think we forget how far we've come as a human race. And so my answer would just be, I just don't think people especially older generation, you know, they didn't have the internet. Like they don't realize, they just don't understand it. Just like, again, 20 years ago as a teenager yourself, you never thought you could make money playing a video game until someone did. And then now everyone's like, oh my God, how come no one gets that you can make money playing a video game? Well, the same reason no one did until someone fucking was brave enough to fucking try to do it. Like,
Right.
I didn't think as a, like, up until probably even 22, 23, I didn't think to myself, oh, I could make a living playing video games, until some
Right.
people started doing it. And I was like, oh, wait a minute. And then, oh, there's actually people that'll watch and donate money and ads will come in. And like, no one, like, the people that did do it, they didn't do it trying to set out making money. They just did it because they loved fucking playing video games, and they were playing video games with friends and wanted to be able to show their screen to their friend. Like, Twitch started out as what was it called? What was it called? The original Twitch website. I forget. It wasn't even called Twitch, but it came out just as a way for people to like live stream their, like, just like live, like stream their webcam and talk to people. And then someone was like, oh, I could live stream my game and show people. And like it was never a money thing. Like most of that stuff is.
So Twitch originally wasn't Twitch. I didn't know that.
Twitch was originally called, what was the first site where people, because it became such a popular thing, it became its own sign. What was Twitch originally called?
Justin.tv.
Yeah, Justin.tv. Yeah, Justin.tv. Yeah. It was created by a startup. Yeah. Yep. Justin.tv. Yeah, Justin.tv. And it was created. Users were permitted to broadcast to an unlimited number of people for free and watch and broadcast. Yeah. So literally people could just, like, wearing a webcam. He decided he wanted to, like, just stream his entire life. Like, they set up, like, backpacks that they could carry on their backs with, like, a webcam attached to their hat, their baseball cap, and just walked around and live streamed it. That's where Princess says that sounds so familiar. Well, do you know iJustine? That's where she got her start. The tech chick. Justin.tv. iJustine. She was one of their main users back in the day.
What?
Yeah, I've been around for all this. I'm old. Showing my age here. But again, it was never like, there wasn't even video game thing, wasn't even a thing. People playing video, like, again, no one knew you could make, I mean, it, you know, again, I just say that not to, like, you know, whatever on you. I'm just saying, like, none of us knew you could make money doing it till someone started making money doing it. So it's not surprising.
Yeah,
like,
I was gonna say, and that's on anything. That's not even on just on Twitch. I mean, how many times have you heard somebody, you know, make money on something and you're like, what? Like, you know, they made
Yeah.
that much money doing that, you know? It's the same exact mindset.
And that's what I'm saying. Just people nowadays don't realize the opportunity that's in front of us, and that's why I say, like, you can literally. And we have gotten to an age in humanity where, like, most of our basic needs are met as a species. Like, most people, like, yes, there's still hunger in the world. Yes, there's still people dying of starvation, but at least, especially for those in the developed nations, like, food's not that big of an issue. Like, most of the basic needs are met. Most, like, can things happen? Sure, maybe something happens. There's some catastrophe, but if you look out through humanity, like, overall, humanity's basic needs have just gotten more and more met. Like, we live in a time and age where people can now spend money on other things outside of just trying to survive every day. Like, it's just the time and the place we live in. Like I said, we're very lucky with the time we're in. I just don't think many people realize that. We're just we focus too much on negativity. Princess says brain blown on the iJustine thing. Yeah, I don't think a lot of people realize that. But anyways, I think we'll leave it with that. We'll leave it with this positive note. We live in an amazing time, and you should be, like, never where you have even been able to go work a normal job, come home to your family, and then try to start some kind of side hustle after your kids go to sleep at night with a cell phone or a cheap $600, $800 computer, which doesn't sound cheap, but it's cheap compared to what it would have cost you 20 years ago to try to do anything like the stuff we do today. 20 years ago, you couldn't have even bought a personal computer that would edit video.
Right.
or have the resolution that mattered. So again,
No, I would agree.
so to end it on again like that, that's why I'm always like, just do it, because we live in a time where you have the opportunity to. Why waste that? All right, but enough. I don't want to go back into all that again and rehash it. I think that's where we'll end for the night. Any final words before we close, Codations? Anything else you want to say, my friend?
I love everybody. Thank you.
I love everybody too, man. Yo, guys, as always, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for trying this. I have no idea if people are listening to these or not. I have no idea what the future holds for this thing. I don't even know what the numbers do on, like, I know it's on, I believe, like, right now you can go to Spotify. Let's see if I pull up Spotify. Let's just see before we get up. I believe you can go to, like, Spotify or Apple right now, and the podcast is on these things. Let me see. OMG.
Does it cost you anything, Derek, to put these on the
It is.
platforms?
No. Nope.
Gotcha.
Oh, the last 3 episodes are all right here on Spotify. I'm looking at it. My screen's in black and white because it's past my time that I'm allowed to use my phone. So, but literally we are. So I don't even know how to tell yet. I haven't figured out how to tell how to see how many views or anything like that we're getting. Yeah.
Is there like a dashboard or something? I'm assuming.
No, that's the weird thing with podcasts is so the way it works is you host your own podcast episode. So like I have Squarespace. So on my website, OMG, it's Derek.com, there's a podcast section and people can go there. And that's where like you submit that link, the RSS feed for that like link for that particular, which is OMG, it's Derek.com/podcast. You submit that to Apple, Spotify, and they just pull it from there. So they pull the audio and everything from your own website. So like you host your own. So you're not so there's like no dashboard. You just submit them the link and they, approve it or deny it, and then it's on their platform. That's literally it.
Interesting. That I just found it on Spotify, dude. It looks so legit.
Yeah, and like I said, I believe it's on Apple as well, or maybe still going through the approval process. But there's no like account. There's no way for me to sign in. When I add the new episode to the blog, it auto updates on Spotify, Apple, all those places, Stitcher. Like I had to go in and submit it to each of those places initially, but all the updates, just when I upload a new episode to my blog on my website, it auto adds it there. Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, you can pay for analytics software and stuff, but as you know, I'm currently tight on cash with losing my job. So, and to be honest, I don't even know how to do any of that yet. Again, this just proves everything we're talking about. Where I say just do it, like everybody, like people watch my videos and like, wow, they look so professional. They look so. It started just like this podcast. I just do it, man, and just improve it over time, learn what I need to learn. Like one day I'm going to have some time and sit down and dig into how to figure out podcast analytics. And then I'm going to figure that out and it'll get better. One day Codations is going to design a screen where his face is also in the video over.
Exactly. I mean, I learn how to do that skill. Yeah. I mean, I'm going to totally put that in here.
It'll just improve. So yeah, I have no idea how many people listen or don't listen to it, or I do know like some people watch it on YouTube. I know some of the people from the stream that like don't watch it live, like the St. Nicholas guy that's in my stream sometimes. He's commented on him on the YouTube like, hey man, I really enjoyed listening to this in the background of whatever I was doing. And so, yeah, I don't know.
I've tuned into one of them too, like where I'm just at work, you know what I mean? Or I'm doing something at the house or whatever. I'll just throw it into headphones and just listen to it, let it play. Just because, I mean, that's what I do with other podcasts, So, I mean, it just adds to that. So I can see people doing that.
So you listen to yourself talking.
Exactly. Yeah. And then I just re-agree with the thoughts. I'm like, dude, this guy's the best on this show. I mean, this isn't even a podcast, and he's always on here.
But that's, again, just in everything we were talking about tonight, I've just learned that skill to just do it, and it improves over time. Like if you give something effort, you'll naturally, it's natural for a human to want to improve at things. So if you just start doing it, you'll find ways to improve it. You'll find ways to make time for it. You'll find ways to juggle it. You'll find ways to, just all that stuff. Not to go down that rabbit hole again. Princess is laughing my ass off. I think about you making the graphic for to see your face as well. Actually, to be honest, I got to be honest. I was thinking today, I think I'm being kind of lazy because I legit think I can just add. I think this theme came with some webcam square border things. So I legit think I could just like shrink myself down on this page or basically copy this scene, shrink myself down and add in like 2 boxes next to the chat here, where I can then just throw in other people's webcam or whatever. So
yeah, the interesting part to me is I don't know how do you, my thought process is
I just got your
throw my
message.
camera in. Like that's okay. How do you throw my camera into you? That's the interesting part.
Yeah, well you can
pulling it
do
from
it
Discord?
Yeah.
That's what I was wondering. Okay.
Yeah, because we can we can instead of jumping in these, we can just start a video call where we can invite people in and out of it. Which is probably a smart thing to do because even tonight, like I forgot that there's other people that can just jump in this channel. And I really don't like that fact. So yeah, what we should be doing is making a video call where it's not even in the stream, like my Discord. It's just a video call between us. So then our webcams is in there, and I would pull them from the Discord and put them, basically into the stream.
Gotcha.
So,
Yep.
all right. Well, with that said, yeah, I've been thinking the same thing, dude. I was not expecting to go this long. What to figure out better also how to cut these a little short because I definitely don't want all these podcasts going for like 4 hours.
Yeah, that's all
That's what
right.
we're
That's
at,
all right.
right?
And that's all right. And I could be better at time management too. You know what I mean? Like I hopped in here because I enjoy it, and I wanted to do it. And then, then on the other, the flip side, I'm looking back at my screen and I'm just like, fuck, dude. I'm like, I got all this stuff to do. And I'm like, I got to work tomorrow. I got to get videos done. And then I'm like, all right, well, I'll send him a message. And then, Derek never checks his Discord. So.
I don't, well, because I mean, I got, fucking stream stuff up that I got, like it's all in front and I don't have notifications. But anyways, like I said, we're wrapping it up for the night. Guys, Princess, thanks again for the support as always. Appreciate it. Thanks for showing Codation some love lately on his streams. Thanks for raiding the person with me the other night. Appreciate just everything you do, Princess. Codations, appreciate you, my dude. Hope you guys have a great night. Anybody watching anywhere or listening anywhere, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, leave the site or leave the podcast a thumbs up, subscribe, follow, do all the things, whatever it is you're supposed to do on whatever platform you're on. Appreciate and love each and every one of you. Thanks for supporting this crazy ride that we're on. If you guys want to jump into the podcast as they're live, we do it live on twitch.tv. You can find my channel by going to omgitsderek.tv. You can find Codations by going to youtube.com/Codations, Kodeations. Did I spell that correctly? Correct. Till next time. Peace out, everybody.